Hey, y'all. It's Patrice Stokes, your host of Inspired on Purpose Presents Therapy on the Mic. And you can see that I am feeling festive today. I've missed y'all. All of December has been a crazy but an amazing year or month. And it feels that long. But without further ado, you know what we about to do right here.
Hey there, it's your girl Patrice Stokes, radio and podcast host, therapist, poet, photographer, and published author. Yep, that's me. I'm excited to welcome you to the all-new Therapy Thursdays with Therapy on the Mic, brought to you by Inspired on Purpose, where our mission is to inspire people to see themselves through a different lens, to discover healing and their God-given purpose using therapy and photography. Each week, we are here to guide you through the journey of developing gratitude, growth, and healing, no matter what season of life you're in. Join me live every Thursday for an interactive Q&A with me and our special guests. You might even win some awesome prizes. Missed the live show? No problem, I got you covered. Replayed on Spotify, and check out inspiring clips on all my social media platforms. For even more exclusive content like behind the scenes interviews, courses, and resources, consider our monthly membership. Sign up for my email list at www.inspiredonpurposeservices.com and follow me on all platforms as Inspired on Purpose to get in on special offers, discounts on therapy and photography services, and merch like my recently self-published 3-in-1 transformative self-care journal called Gratitude is Always in Season. Get more details for all of this in each episode description. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and stay tuned for this week's special guest. Together, let's get ready to be inspired on purpose.
Yeah, what's up? What's up, everybody? How you doing? How you feeling? I know that this has been a little bit of a hiatus for the last couple of weeks. We've been doing some behind the scenes, really great things, and I can't wait to tell you more about that. And also, we are kicking off what's called the Giving December campaign. So if you go to my website, www.inspiredonpurposeservices.com, you'll learn more about that. There's a video at the very top that will explain it. And then if you click on the button that says learn more, it'll tell you more about how you can give, where you can give, and what your giving will go towards and how it will help. As we are talking tonight about a very important topic, because as you all know, December can be a really difficult time. Over the last few months, we've been talking about seasonal affective disorder and just how during this season, it can be really tough for a lot of people. Literally in the last few weeks, I have, not super close to home, but close enough, have had people who have lost loved ones and just a lot of funerals. And then of course, just people just dealing with, sickness. I was sick for a little bit. My husband was sick. We're better. And so, but then also too, just dealing with, immense darkness as far as, physically dealing with more darkness instead of light. It's been dark sooner, quicker, longer. And then, of course, just people dealing with their own internal darkness, whether if it's dealing with depression, sadness, anxiety, stress, dealing with finances. So there's just been a lot going on. And so tonight's series, or tonight's topic, which is paying healing forward, starting with reflection, is really what I want us to focus on tonight, because it's not just about this Giving December campaign as much as it is helping people understand that as a community, the way that we help pay healing forward is by depositing not only help and inspiration, but also healing and hope. And so for those of you that don't know, again, good evening, Inspired Tribe. Welcome to Therapy on the Mic show and radio show and podcast. This is your weekly space to breathe, reflect, heal, and build gratitude, growth, and purpose, one conversation at a time. And, as your host, not only am I a podcast host, but of course, licensed therapist, author of my self-care journal, Gratitude is Always in Season, also a photographer, poet, motivational speaker, as well as, of course, the founder and CEO of Inspired on Purpose. And I'm so grateful for what we've been able to accomplish, as well as co-founder of Spoken Word Elevated with my husband, Lamont Stokes. So shout out to my hubby. But I say all that to say that this has been it's been a wild ride for 2025 when I really like take time to sit back and reflect on what tonight represents for 2025. There's been so many highs and lows. There's been a lot of highs, but there have been some low lows. And not just for myself, but for people that I know personally, working with clients in therapy, helping family and just different individuals balance and, handle some of their own highs and lows. And then of course, dealing with my own. And so, again, tonight is not only for you, but it's also for me, because I think our topic is one that I think we all can be able to take something away from, whether you listen to this now or on the replay. But also, just as you think about, one, what have you accomplished this year? And even if you haven't accomplished everything that you felt that you needed to, what are things that you can walk away from 2025 being grateful for that you were able to accomplish, and then motivated to be able to want to do going into 2026? And so as we prepare to enter a new year, reflection is the bridge between where we've been and where we're going. Healing doesn't just happen to us, it happens through us, and when we choose to share it and we pay it forward, which is what tonight's conversation is all about, as we talk about how reflection creates awareness, how healing becomes responsibility, and how each of us personally and professionally can contribute to collective wellness. And so as we talk about that, I do want to share a video with y'all in just a second, but I wanted to share a little bit about our wellness workshop that we did just this past Wednesday, not this Wednesday, but last week. And it was so beautiful to see so many community leaders who are pouring into other people all the time. Yet they had a moment in time where they got to focus on their own self-care. They got a chance to work on vision boarding, and create and just, do a lot of different things, and then connect with one another. And these are the types of things that we're going to be doing going into 2026. And one of the reasons why these wellness workshops are so important, because it's also connected to what I'm doing with the program that I started with my other business partner, Nicole Garrett, who is a certified holistic nutritionist. And her business is Don't Stop Living Wellness. So shout out to you, Nicole. And together in 2025, we created a program called Building with Purpose, Mind, Body, and Soul. And so I'm so thankful for us being able to come together to do this year, because we've seen some amazing, just amazing work happen through us and even through other people as they've been inspired through this program to help them with gut health, weight loss, wellness, mental health, self-care, and just overall wellness. And so that's one of the things that we had opportunity to talk about at this wellness workshop, as well as what we're going to do going into 2026. And we're actually going to be doing another wellness workshop. This time it is going to be for youth and young adults. So if you are high school, college, or straight out of college, or young adults, there's going to be another one coming up in January. So be on the lookout for that. If you would like to sponsor someone, especially in that age bracket, to help them with their wellness and help them to be able to work on self-care and mental health and mental wellness and overall wellness, you can definitely give to the Giving December campaign on my website, www.inspiredonpurposeservices.com, where you can go to the click on learn more link, and there should be a donation button. And then that's where you can actually give to the different initiatives on the website. And so I'll just tell you a little bit about what they are, but also to just give you some ideas about how this will help not only you, if you personally are looking to get any kind of services related to this, but even other people that you know who need these services, but, cannot afford it. As we all know, when I was looking at preparing for healthcare for sign up for healthcare for next year. And I was like, good Lord. And I was just like, imagine how other people probably feel when it comes to thinking about like, I got to take care of myself, but good grief, why is it so expensive? And so doing this Giving December campaign helps to alleviate some of those burdens and barriers that keeps people from getting the help that they need and want, but a lot of times don't because of the cost. And so these are some of the things that it will help with. And I'll show this to you. So I'm going to share my screen so that way you can see it. So what you'll see, and then I'll share the video, and then we're going to have on our special guest tonight. But what you'll see here is this is the donation page. So when you go to my website, you won't see this first, but when you click on the learn more, there should be a donate today button. You click on that, and then it will take you here. And then what you'll see is that these are different initiatives. So there's one for Giving December. There's one for self-care journals for community. There's one for Building with Purpose scholarships. There's one for Therapy on the Mic, podcast and media programming. There's one for community wellness workshops. So referring back to if you would like to donate to help support someone go to one of these workshops. There's one for spoken word elevated events and creative healing fund, as well as for all of our events. And then of course, event merch and community giveaways like my self-care journal, Gratitude is Always in Season. And these books are actually given to people in the Building with Purpose program when they become a part of our 6-week challenge, which we have one coming up in January. So you'll hear more about that coming up soon. But these are just some of the ways that you can give. And then when you click on, I'll just click on Therapy on the Mic. And when you click on it, what you'll see is these are all donations. So you can donate and you can have this as a write-off, and it tells you below how you can do that because we are for profit. But the way that you can do that is by making this for like personal development, professional development, different things like that. It gives you suggestions of the amounts that you can give and what it helps with. And then you would just click on whatever the amount you want, or you can put in the amount that you want and then hit donate. And then it will take you to checkout. And then it will also give you a receipt. So you can use that for tax purposes if you would also like to write that off for 2025 donations. So that's a little bit about that. So I want to share this video with you that shares a little bit more about Giving December and what it is for. Let me share this video. And then after this, we're going to go to a quick commercial. And then the next person that you will hear is from our special guest, Paul Harris, who is CEO and founder of Herbal Intellect. He's one of our sponsors and has an amazing products that actually has helped me while I was sick. And I cannot wait for you to hear more about that. But you're going to watch this first about the Giving December campaign. And then after this, you will hear from our special guest, Paul. Hi, everyone. This is Patrice Stokes, founder and CEO of Inspired on Purpose. I want to personally invite you to something truly special and meaningful this season. It's called Giving December. December is a time when many people often want to give back, but don't know where their support will make the biggest impact. And the truth is that someone right now is praying for healing. Someone is praying for relief, and someone is praying for a chance to feel whole again. We already know December can do to all of us. See, your gift can make this possible. Giving December helps provide low-cost or no-cost therapy services to individuals who are struggling, especially entrepreneurs, community leaders, students, parents, working professionals, those who are carrying heavy emotional, spiritual, and sometimes even mental loads. With raising healthcare costs, many cannot afford the support that they desperately need and should have access to, but unfortunately often don't. See, Inspired on Purpose is all about changing that narrative, especially for underserved and marginalized communities, especially communities of color. See, your giving bridges that gap. Your support also helps keep Therapy on the Mic, our radio show and podcast accessible to the community at no cost. This platform gives voice to conversations that marginalized and underserved communities rarely get access to. Conversations from community leaders, entrepreneurs, people that are developing gratitude, growth, and healing, mental wellness, self-care, and purpose, having real solutions for real people in real time. You are helping us provide ongoing workshops, programs, tools like my self-care journal, Gratitude is Always in Season, which gives practical ways to cultivate wellness, gratitude, emotional health, and growth that ripple into their families, workplaces, and communities. And as we build these resources, we're not just impacting today, we are shaping our future generations to help them understand how to heal, communicate, have healthy boundaries, healthy relationships, understand their identity, belonging, and most importantly, purpose. Now, here's how your giving makes a direct impact. For instance, $25 provides essential self-care and gratitude resources. $50 sponsors one person's access to therapeutic workshops or get access to a 1-month subscription membership of our Building with Purpose Mind, Body, and Soul program. $150 helps someone receive a therapy session that would not otherwise be able to afford it. $250 supports a month of Therapy on the Mic programming so our community continues to receive free, life-changing content that is being spread and impacting all over the globe. $500 helps sponsor an individual for ongoing wellness support, tools, and group programs, as well as events like Spoken Word Elevated. $1,000 plus allows us to sponsor multiple clients and expand mental health and wellness access across the communities and globe. Our goal for the Giving December campaign is to raise $18,000 to support each of these life-changing initiatives as we prepare for 2026. Yes, it's a big goal, but it is absolutely possible when our community comes together. And you are a big part of this Inspired Tribe community to make that happen. If you've ever benefited from anything Inspired on Purpose has ever offered, from our therapy sessions to Gratitude is Always in Season self-care journal, our workshops, programs, photography services, inspiring posts on social media, our Spoken Word Elevated events, Therapy on the Mic podcast and radio show, thank you for allowing us to serve you. Now we invite you to invest back into the work that has inspired you, supported you, and helped you grow. To make this goal practical, here's what it can look like when we do it together. If 18 people or organizations sponsored $1,000, we would fully reach our goal. Or if 36 people sponsor $500 each, we will be able to get there. Or 72 people or organizations give $250, we will be able to make this goal happen. And when you look at it, this is absolutely doable because our community believes in healing, it believes in purpose, and making wellness accessible for all. And yes, for organizations and companies, your contribution can also support professional development, wellness initiatives, and community impact efforts. If you're giving through your business or sponsoring a group, simply click the link to learn more about how your support can align with your organizational goals. When you give, you don't just give and help one person, you're helping families, communities, you're helping entrepreneurs, leaders, and future generations to step into a new year healthier, stronger, and even more grounded. Your giving pays healing forward, and it truly can start with you. So this December, I'm inviting you personally to join me and to join us to support healing, to pay it forward, to end the year knowing that because of you, someone will finally get the help that they've been praying for. Click the link and learn more about how to give. And whatever feels aligned for you, do it. Let's make this month of healing, hope, and inspiration, and let's all of us continue to be inspired on purpose, because healing begins within us and through our community.
which is you. God bless.
So I'm so excited about the giving campaign, not only because of what we're able to do now, but what we will do going into the new year. And that leads me to why I'm so excited to have on my special guest. What's up, Nikki Neptune? Shout out to you. Thank you for joining, brother. I appreciate you. And, as we get into this topic about paying healing forward, I think one of the things that I want us to think about, or as you're thinking about this tonight, and also, like I said, share this with other people so people can get on and ask questions tonight, because we will have an opportunity for you all to ask questions, as well as we will be playing some Christmas music, because I can't believe next week is actually Christmas. But as you think about it, just, tag people, have people come on so they can join the live and ask questions. But I just want you to be thinking about who has helped pay healing forward for you. When you think about where you are in your life right now, when you think about how far you've come, right? When you think about those moments, and maybe I'm sure you may not want to dwell on it very long, but when you were hurting, when you were suffering, or when you were dealing with something super traumatic and you just needed a hand, you needed someone to help you along the way. Or maybe you didn't even know that you needed help until someone reached out and said, let me offer this. And imagine how much more of a blessing that is for you, and how you've been able to benefit from it now, right? When you think about your mental health, your physical health, even your spiritual, or just overall health, in any way, even educationally, whoever was able to pay it forward to help you in whatever those manners were. Imagine what that would be like if you were able to do that for someone else. If there was someone that you knew that wanted to go to therapy, or that wanted to go to a wellness workshop, or go to one of our events where we talk about creative healing through having a platform like Spoken Word Elevated for you to share through poetry and art, to be able to have a voice, a platform where you can share about your business, where you can share about, the work that you're doing in the community and how you're supporting and serving other people, so that more people know about the work that you're doing. Imagine if someone invested into you, and what you could do to invest into someone else. And that is what Giving December is all about. And so, yes, we're halfway through December. And yes, as we continue on through the rest of this month, we do have some needs that are definitely going into before the end of the month. So like I said, we are hoping to be able to raise these funds before the end of 2025, but we will continue this going into 2026. But for yourself, or for those or if you're a business, or if you know other people who have businesses, and if you want to write this off, you can. Details are also in the description. So I'll also put it in here too, so that you can check it out. But you can also go there where you can find out more information about how you can do that, even if you wanted to write it off, because I understand that's how it be sometimes. But on a serious tip though, like I'm really grateful for everyone, and I'm really thankful for this year, because it really truly has been a blessing to see how the work that I've been able to do through Inspired on Purpose has blessed other people, but also how other people have blessed others because of the help that they've received through Inspired on Purpose, and just how it has far-reaching capacities, and I'm probably sure that I even know. So speaking of which, that's why I'm excited to have on my next special guest on tonight. And so I'm going to have him go ahead and come on here. So for those of y'all that don't know, this special guest has definitely been one that has truly been a blessing in my life, in my husband's life. He has not only been a part of our lives for, I don't know, what, 4?
About 4 years.
About 4 years? That's crazy, isn't
four
it?
of them. About
4. Brother man for the 5th floor. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it has truly been a blessing, because like I said, he has kept us, you kept us well, like literally kept us well, through his teas, through Herbal Intellect. It's been a blessing. So if you don't know, y'all need to know this brother. And ironically, the other thought that I just realized from the wellness workshop that you were at this past Wednesday,
Right.
it was this time last year that you were on the podcast at the end of the year. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy. So I'm excited. So y'all give it up for my brother, my friend, and also I would say our holistic doctor, one of our holistic doctors, Paul Harris of Herbal Intellect. How are you
Uh,
doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Thank you, beloved. Nah, I ain't. I'm just a person, man, who just want to be on the right side of history. That's all. Just
I
when it
love
comes to
it.
health and wellness, man. You know,
I love it.
for too often, we keep doing things that don't have a good resolve for us. Unfortunately,
Mm,
you know what I mean. When it comes to our health and wellness,
yeah.
and that's just a lot of times we just got to be honest about that. You know what I mean, instead of thinking just because people went to school and and got white coats and things like that, and they have, because at the like I always tell people, if you got 100 of them that went to school, somebody got graduate last out of 100. You know what I mean?
Mm, mm,
That's just the honest to God truth. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
it's just so it's just about us. This understanding, man, that when it comes to health and wellness, literally everything that's in the earth is in your body.
Yeah.
Literally,
Literally. Literally.
literally, it's not made up. None of that. Literally everything that's in the earth is in your body. So why wouldn't you want to, try from a holistic perspective? It's just
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times most of us, we just like discipline and what it is that we're striving to do.
Yeah.
So so when you like discipline, you're always looking for a quick fix.
Yeah.
You know,
And
you
it's
know,
crazy too, because I mean, even this year alone, I found myself being more disciplined and yet still needing to be more disciplined.
right?
Because, like even some of the things that I was trying to accomplish today, I found myself not doing certain things that I regularly do. And so it's like in those moments where you feel like you're tough on time, or you're trying to cut corners to get things done because you only have so many hours in a day, and it's
Right?
like, but I can't allow, caring for myself to go to the wayside, because I won't
Can't
be
do it.
well to be able to help other people if I'm
True.
constantly doing that on a regular. Now, it's one thing if you do something, like you're not able to exercise every day, or you can't always cook a meal at home every day, but you
Right?
can't make that a regular practice, right? Because all
No,
those
man.
things impact your immune system too, which
That's
then
right.
impacts your energy, your gut, your mindset, your mental health, your spiritual
Yeah.
health, all of these things. And that's a big part of why we're talking about paying it forward, starting with reflection, because, we can't move forward, let alone pay it forward for anybody else, if we're not
True.
taking time to reflect on what it is that we're doing, what's not working, but also what do we need to do to make things work better than what we're doing right now. Yeah, so I wanted to ask you this question because we didn't do it in the
Yes, man.
beginning, but I wanted to ask this to kind of kick off our time. So we do
Okay.
something called a mantra moment, and
Okay.
so just really having that, that phrase or those words that help us to basically take on what we believe to be true, but we want to be a part of our lifestyle. And
Right.
so I always try to do that at the beginning of our time. And so tonight's mantra moment that I want to ask you your thoughts on is this. It says, reflection turns experience into wisdom, and wisdom into healing we can share. What do you think about that?
Boy, that's right. I mean, well, when you reflect, I mean, when you're able to reflect, but reflect honestly.
Mm,
There's sometimes, when we reflect, we don't like to be honest with ourselves. So when
yeah,
you're honest with yourself, first you got to be honest with yourself in order to reflect and look at your shortcomings. Look at the things that allow you to be successful.
facts.
When you're able to tune into them things, then you can start to decipher and say, okay, when I did it this way, I was successful. But when I try to do it the other way, I wasn't successful. You know,
Yep.
that's the whole purpose of reflection, being able to let go of old things. That's that's why it says in the Bible, you cannot put new wine in old wine skin, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because why? Because what? You put new wine in old wine skin, it's gonna do what? What's it gonna do?
It won't work.
It's gonna bust, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
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 But so you can't so once you reflect on things and once you see what you have had success with and what you haven't had success with, you can't lie to yourself. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? You
Yeah.
just can't. You can't. You won't be successful like that if you truly want success. Because isn't this them things are very important. Uh, very important. So
Yeah.
so in order to move, we always got to be honest with ourselves about what our intentions are. You know what I mean? What's the
Mm-hmm.
purpose? What's the reason behind it?
Yep. Yep. And that's one of the things that I feel that you said that I really like is because it's the being honest with ourselves. And I think that's one of the things that sometimes people I find are afraid of. That's what sometimes people are afraid of when they're going through things, because it's like, okay, I have to face the thing that I'm afraid of, but realizing
Right?
that that's actually where the healing comes in.
Exactly.
And sometimes, you may not get it the first time, you may not get it the second time, but the longer that you prolong doing reflection, the longer
Right.
that you'll prolong healing. And I think that's a part of one of the things that, as I look at 2025 for myself, but then I also look at it, the clients that I've worked with in, just different programs, and workshops that we've done. And even like this last one that you were at, the wellness workshop,
Yes, ma'am.
where we talked about vision boarding. I really appreciated seeing people take time for themselves to have self reflection while they were trying to work on their vision board, because that
Right.
really does make you think like, man, what do I envision for the new year?
Right.
But what did I not accomplish this year that I need to maybe push forward into the new year? So tell me a little bit about your experience at the wellness workshop, and then what was one of the things that you took away from that time?
My experience was a good experience. It's being able to share the information with the people, like always, and it's always a beautiful thing to be able to share people with wealth, health, and wellness.
Mm-hmm.
Always this, good conversations, good making, helping people be aware of things that they wasn't aware of before. You know what I mean? And what I took from it is people who want to achieve their goals. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whether and that's what a visionary board does. It allows you to whatever that is. If you say if your goal is to be on your yacht, or you put a yacht on that board. You know what I mean? You put things around it on that board that you want to do. You know what I mean? And you put it in your bedroom, on your dresser, or when you go to the refrigerator, whatever that goal is, you put it on there, because as long as you see it, you can achieve it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's just like, you repeating these things, or constantly, and doing these things constantly being due diligent and being intentional. You know what I mean? And that's what a
That's that
vision
word.
boards allows you to do. It allows you to be
Intentional.
intentional.
Yeah.
And along the way, while you being intentional, make sure you surround yourself with good people who see things
Yes.
like you see, who view things. Everybody ain't got to be 100%, but at least they got to be 80% to what it is
Yeah.
that, to this dynamic that you want, which is success, which we should all want, is success. Wanting to be successful, you know what I mean? So yeah, so the vision board, it's definitely was a good experience to see people actually want to achieve those goals.
I love that. I love that. And you said something that made me think about this statistic that, kind of going back to, what you're saying, being intentional, but even
Yes,
with
ma'am.
that, how reflection does help you to be intentional. There's a study, according to the American Psychology Association, reported that reflective practices reduce burnout and compassion fatigue by 40%. So
Okay.
when you think about the work that you do, not only being holistic in terms of the products that you provide, but
Yes, ma'am.
also, being able to do things that are empowering, especially in communities of color, how do you think that has helped you personally, and then how do you see that helping other people in the community that you serve?
Well, for us personally, so let's just say like a formula that I create, right?
Mm,
A formula for men's health, what's called the men's hormone reset.
mm,
You know, all of us have hormones, so so a lot of times you still eat flesh, or you're out in this atmosphere, you eat a lot of sugar, starch, things like that. These things causes your hormones to get unbalanced. So
mm,
so when I make these formulas, I make them with care. You know what I mean? I make them with no noise. I make them with the intention of being able to aid and assist somebody. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
Uh, that's really big on my heart to always to want somebody have a better outcome than they had before or what they have been having. You know what I mean? Being able to see the results, and
Yeah.
so it allows me to reflect. And this it's always a beautiful thing when you aid and assist people, man. It just always is. That's why here lately I've been on, just telling people, that we all should be striving to detox every 90 days, you know,
Oh, every
every
90
90.
days. Now, why every 90 days?
Well, because real reason why every 90 days is because you still eat flesh, right? Most of us
Mm-hmm.
still eat flesh, okay?
Mm-hmm. Even though I
And
am eating on a an apple right now.
okay, but I'm just saying, I'm just saying, we most of us still eat flesh,
Yes. And
okay?
you
And it's
talking
just
about meat when you say that.
yeah, yes, yeah, yes, ma'am. Yeah, I'm talking about meat, whatever,
Okay.
whatever that is, what I mean, for you. Or if you didn't eat meat, let's say you might eat the cleanest of the clean, but you still got insects that might land on you. If you got pets, your pets could have came across something.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, People, what I mean, germs, atmosphere, things like that. And reason why I say every 90 days is because you fortify your body like that. You're
Yeah.
likely to get diseases, viruses, and you're a pet owner, correct?
Yeah. I got
Okay.
two.
So
And
so
one of them is
okay
furry.
okay. Now so what's required of you once a year for your pets? It's called what?
They got to get their annual checkup.
Right? And they got to get what? Dewormed, right?
Yep, they do. They sure do.
Okay. And just like us as human beings, we should be deworming ourselves every 90 days because most of us still eat flesh. Just like
That's a good
animals.
point.
Animals eat flesh. So do we. You know what I mean? And even those of us that so-called think we eat so clean. You
Because
know
they
what I
eat
mean?
chicken, right? So you're
Yeah,
like,
or just
how does
yeah,
a dog eat chicken, or how does a dog eat flesh? But like the byproducts of
yeah,
animal
chicken.
meat,
But
yeah,
yeah,
or
animal meat,
steak, yep,
beef.
yep, beef,
Simon. They have all these things in the products. You know what I mean? They
uh
eat
huh,
very clean as well, but every once a year they still got to get dewormed because they eating flesh.
yeah, yeah,
And the same is for us. That's why
yeah,
every 90 days we should, and the reason why every 90 days for us because we have long intestines. Most
mm-hmm,
carnivores have short intestines. You know what I mean? So in doing this will help keep down the colon cancer, things like that. Help with prostates. You know what I mean? Things like that.
mm,
And will help fortify. You know what I mean? Help fortify your whole body. So that's
mm.
why it's important every 90 days to that we should be detoxing.
Now you said a good point, and I like the fact that you're thinking about every 90 days. So that's what 3 months.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
so every 3 months, if we're talking about detoxing, what are the types of things? And I mean, and I'm going to get to this too, because that goes into this, reflection or helping paying
Okay.
it forward
Okay.
is what kinds of things should you detox from and why?
Well, I mean, you should. Well, for one, you should. What is a drug, right? A drug, what? Your biopsycho and social, correct? So
Yes.
so we
And
should,
someone's asking
so
the question.
yeah,
Shout out
yeah, yeah,
to Quinn who said, "How do
yes.
I?"
Well, you should be detoxing from things that you see your shortcoming. For
Mm-hmm.
especially most of us eat ultra what they call food, ultra
Mm-hmm.
processed foods.
Mm-hmm.
We should be striving to detox from things like that. And if you're gonna, not saying that I'm not a police, I'm not a food police or anything like that. Not saying what you should eat or what you should be eating, but
Right.
but the golden rule is this. if you look on the back of a label and then got a scientific term, you should know that should tell you shouldn't be eating it. That's just a
Facts.
fact. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So but and because it just like I said, we have short intestines, so it's important that we should practice detoxing. You know what I mean? That's
Mm-hmm.
just that's just what that is. Especially we got pets, things like that in the atmosphere.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What we'll find is once we start implementing these things into our lifestyles, we'll start seeing how healthier we are. You know, how most of us won't get so many illnesses and aches. You know what I mean? Because you're literally fortifying yourself. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and when you do detox, like with my detox, you always want to make sure it got woodworm, black half cloth in it. You want to make sure it got bitters in it, things
Mm.
that's going to literally deworm you. These things literally deworm you. You know, like with my detox, I tell people if you ain't never detoxed before, at least do 4 days because 4 days is the foundation. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but and then then once you do that 4 days, then try to do more. At
Yeah.
least like when I detox, I'm at least do 7 to 12 days.
7 to 12 days. And
Seven.
what
Days.
so I know that there's all kinds of
Yeah,
detoxes
you
or
got
cleanses, and that's also something too, like, especially as people are preparing for the new year, like two things
right,
that I
right.
think about that people start doing around the new year. They do, and this is more so for, communities of color, particularly the Black community.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
They
ma'am.
will
Yes,
do
ma'am.
for New Year's, they'll do like black eyed peas,
Right.
for good health and wealth,
Yes, ma'am.
and some other things that they'll do in the new year. And some of the other things right after New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, is people will start going back to the gym. They'll start
Right.
trying to do some types of like fruit or vegetable
Oh,
detoxes.
okay.
But even more so, like, let's talk about how foods or even doing the detoxes that you're talking about, and tell us a little bit about some of your products that do that, how that also helps with us being able to do mental detoxes, because I
Oh
think
yeah.
that's
Well,
also important.
yeah, very important because you got to remember, a lot of things that you got. You have some people that some scientists argue that the gut is your first mind versus your brain. You know what I mean? So
Facts.
and so when you do a detox, especially a deworming detox, you always want to use fruit because fruit is a cleanser.
Mm-hmm.
It cleanses you. It's gonna get in
Mm-hmm.
them. It's gonna cleanse your cells. It's gonna flush things out. That's why you always want to do fruit or watery fruit. You know what I mean? Or spring water or herbal tea. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
ma'am. Yeah,
Shout
there you
out to
go.
Leo's Alkaline Water.
Leo alkaline water, y'all. Yeah. So
Yes.
and it's because parasites, man. They tricky. They travel. They hide. You know what I mean? So
Mm.
that's why you always that's why you want to do that detox. You know what I mean? Because they hide. But
Yeah.
even when you fast, even when you fast, they still can hide. But you know when you do a detox that has a black cloth and a wood worm, them things are specifically for worms. For parasites, should I say? I apologize. For parasites, or and find yourself eating the green pumpkin seeds. You know what I mean? Parasites don't like
Petitas.
those.
Okay.
Potatoes. They the green pumpkin seeds, not the white ones, not the things like that. They very bland. They have no taste, but
Mm.
your body will love it because it has all your trace minerals in it. So
Ooh. Ooh, now talk about that, because I remember when you first told me about that and I didn't really understand it, but help people understand what are trace minerals
but
and what are the types of things that help your body.
your trace minerals are all your basic minerals that you need to be sufficient. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? That doesn't allow you to be like your magnesium, zinc, calcium. You know what I mean? Things like that. The things that we need that allow because of a lot of times we think a lot of times like people who got a lot of gray hair, a lot of times we think that's this from age, but a lot of times what you'll find out is really from a lack of zinc, a lack of
Mm.
magnesium. You know what I mean? You have other things like dates that helps you along with that as well.
Oh, and I've learned to really like dates because it is
Yeah.
actually really
Yes.
sweet And
Yeah,
it's a
especially when you
natural sweetener.
sweetener. Yeah, especially and your body loves natural sugar. Only thing
Yes.
your body doesn't dislike sugar. Your body dislikes processed sugar because it
Ooh, talk
doesn't
about that.
because your body doesn't know what to do with processed sugar.
Because it's fake, right?
Because it's fake, right? Your body is only designed for nutrients and minerals. That's it. That's
Mm,
why that's the reason why we go to the stool, the restroom, and things like that. Because your body gets what it needs and then it flushes the rest out. Because that's the only thing that's functioning off of minerals and nutrients. It doesn't care about anything else. With food, most of us have a bad relationship with food because a lot of us we deal from a taste and not understanding like you looking at it from a taste point of view, whereas your body looking at it as a bitter point of view. Your body loves bitters. So when you put
mm,
something bitter on your tongue, it automatically tells your pancreas, your liver to release certain enzymes, to start making certain enzymes work in your body. So
mm.
this about this understanding that all of us have had a bad relationship with food from upbringing, from things like that, and so this about this understanding of being able to if you into health or you want to be healthy, and we should all want to be that. This because when we're healthy, we're allowed to do what it is we set our goals, just like the dream board. You know what I mean? I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry, like the vision
The vision
board.
board. Yep.
When you're healthy, we can make them things happen. But we can't make them things happen if we are unhealthy people. We just can't.
Come on.
You know what
Come
I mean?
on.
We just can't. You know what I mean?
I
So
love
so we got
that.
to understand that whatever that goal is, I don't know what your goal is, but whatever that is, if you practice, strive to be intentional with your health, you will literally achieve them goals. You
I love
will. You
that.
know what I mean? There's no stopping you. You know what I mean? That's how
Yeah.
that's how much God loves us. You know what I mean? That he literally
Yes. Come on.
that he
Come
that he literally
on.
put in our body. He literally takes the herbs and allow our bodies to synergize with one another. That's how much
Yes.
God loves us. That's why God
Yes.
gives us 7 orifices in our body to release everything that's bad. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Everything,
That's a
literally
word right
everything.
there.
Yeah,
That and that
literally.
that that piece about like the releasing part, right? Because that's a part
Yeah.
of detoxing, right? And it's not
Yes,
just for
ma'am.
food, but it's also a mindset. It's also
Spiritual, spiritual.
spiritual. It's
Yes,
it's the
ma'am.
things that sometimes that have maybe caused trauma even in this year. And if
Yes,
we're
ma'am.
holding on unforgiveness, if we're holding on to that stuff, then how can we expect to be able to grow and to
You
heal
can't.
and to move forward,
You
in
can't.
2026, right? We
You
can't.
can't.
We
You're
can't do
impossible.
that.
It's impossible to do that.
Yeah,
You
it
can't serve
is.
two masters. Two things
Yeah.
can't occupy the same space.
Come on.
It just doesn't work like that. You know what I mean?
Come
And
on.
that's from people who've been, from things as unfortunate events that happen to us personally, to our families, to the people we love and adore. You know what I mean? That's with all that. That's across the board. That
Yeah.
in order for us to reach our full potential and being able to do the things that we want to do, be able to achieve the things we want to do, we got to release this stuff, man. We can't walk around holding on to these things. It's
Facts.
just it's not healthy for us. It's
Yeah.
just not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
On all levels,
Yeah.
it's just unhealthy.
I love that.
It's an unhealthy approach to life. It
Yeah.
just
Well,
really is.
I got two questions for you. So I got
Okay.
one question that I'm gonna ask, and then we got a question from the audience. So these are
Okay.
really good questions. So the question that I have for you are, what are some barriers that you see in our communities when it comes to prioritizing wellness, and how can we shift that?
Oh man. Well, I think that the first barrier is that the number one barrier in our community that we need to get away from is that. Well, I'm gonna say two.
Okay.
That our parents was raised on it. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And it didn't hurt my grandmama. You know what I mean? We just got to get
Mm.
away from that. We just got to get away from that stuff, man.
That's good.
Because we not only are we are in the information age. We just are, man. So we shouldn't just keep regurgitating the same things over and over, over and
Yeah.
over, making it sound good. And you sentence yourself to death. Why
Yeah.
is it that when it comes to as black people, when it comes to our health and wellness, how is it that we're number one in all these areas, man?
Mm.
So if we're so I believe we intelligent people. You a very
We are
intelligent
very,
person. You know what I mean? You
yeah,
have intelligent people around. I know intelligent people that's in our community. You know what I mean? So we
yeah,
just can't. That's a sickness that we got to get away from. We can't just keep saying these things over and over again and think we're gonna get a different result. And then as soon as we go get checked or we don't get checked because only and this is applied to all the sisters that because y'all love health. Y'all don't mind going to the doctor, seeing what's wrong with you. But us as brothers, we suffer in silence. And I'm
speak to
just here
that.
to let all the brothers know we don't have to suffer in silence no more, man. We just don't. That's why I can be up on the interview with you tonight. You be like, dang, yeah, Paul was looking good. The more I wake up dead, first thing you gonna say, you look good. Nah, Paul, I was suffering in silence. Here it is, Patrice, my friend, my sister,
Yeah.
who's in this space of wellness and healing, not mentally and spiritually. Here it is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to open up to it because want nobody know what's going on with me. But yeah, I look good on the outside. On the
Mm,
inside, I'm dying, man.
yeah.
Because I refuse to go get checked out. I refuse to let people know what's going on with me.
Yeah.
And there's certain things we just gotta family 2026, we in a space age, y'all. We just gotta certain things we just gotta get away from, man. We
I
just got
love
to.
that.
We gotta
And I
get
love
away from all this stuff.
And I love that you said, like, well, it's what my parents or grandparents or different ones were raised on. Well, if you look at back then, right, the foods that they had
It's
are
a, it
not the
was it was
foods
a
that we had now.
Yeah,
They
and
were
and
more
it was it,
natural.
and it was a whole different food supply then.
That's
See, you
right.
gotta
Because one
remember,
thing that I learned was about bread and how bread today is actually not actually healthy. It's made up of like some crazy stuff. But
yeah,
basically, it goes back to I think when Kellogg's actually instilled it into like commercials and made it
yeah,
be like you're supposed to have
and
this for
yeah,
breakfast and all these things. And it was
and
a
every yeah,
yeah, it
and every
wasn't good.
so-called vitamin they put in is a synthetic vitamin.
Yeah, yeah,
Everything they put
it's
in is
crazy.
synthetic. It's nothing from the earth. You know what I mean? They took all the resources away from it. You know what I mean?
Mm. And
That's
getting
just a
back to
fact.
that, like
Yeah,
even that's one of the things
yeah,
that I plan to do going into 2026 because we didn't get to do it this year, but we will, in the name of Jesus, we will
right.
be doing a garden.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
being able to grow our own fruits and vegetables because
Man,
the
look,
current government
yeah,
situation and everything, like
man, you could,
they are
you know,
targeting us, and so we
yeah,
got to
yeah,
grow our own food.
hey man, it's a practice. You can get you a bag and grow out your bag. You can get you a bowl, grow out your bowl.
Yes.
See what we gonna understand, and what we need to understand, most of us suffer from the king disease. What is the king disease? See, you got to remember, let's do the history. Why they call it the king disease? Because back then, the king was the only one that had all the plagues, all the diseases. Why did the
Mm,
king have all the diseases and plagues? Because what? Just like us, he had access to everything. We can Amazon, Courtmart,
mm.
DoorDash. You see what I'm saying? We got all these access to all this
So we don't have to
garbage.
do anything to get
So
what
we
we
don't have
need.
to. Yeah, so that's the king disease. That's what you got
Wow.
access to everything. You don't want to turn nothing down. Since I got the ability to do it all, I ain't gotta cook. I'm gonna
And
hey, yeah, yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah,
what's
yeah.
killing us. Like I'm telling
Yeah,
you,
that's
that's
what's
one of the
killing.
things that
Yeah.
me and Lamont have gotten back to, and that's one of the things I want us to do even more of going into the new year. And that kind of speaks to, about, paying healing forward. Even when we do things like cook together, we talked about this. I did an interview on Fox 59 News with Nicole a
Okay.
couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about, how do we get back to having more balance? And one of the things that I said was, we're in such a instant gratification society, but we need to, take a step back. And if we're looking at why mental health is a bigger issue, especially in communities of color, or why we're not as healthy, well, we got to look at, well, we're doing things so fast paced. So like
Right.
not eating at home, not eating at the table together. So when we do things like, cook together, when we actually go to the store and we talk about, hey, what foods are we getting? What meals are we going to cook? And then we're going to cook it together. And then we're going to sit down at the table together
Right.
and let's
Yeah.
talk about your day. Let's talk about what was hard. Let's talk about how was school, or you had a bad conversation with a friend or a student or a teacher. Let's talk about how we can gauge, and come up with better ideas of handling things. And when we do
Right.
more of this and we're having more connection, right, then the
Right.
better we are mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and all the things that a lot of times when we think, well, if I do more, I'll be able to get more, when in essence that actually shortens the opportunities that we actually really get to do. And that's a challenge that I've, been working on, still working on, but I've seen the difference when I actually do meal prep, when I actually
Right.
do think through the foods that I'm going to eat. I make better
Right.
decisions. I'm in a
Right.
better headspace. I can help
Right.
people better and I have more energy to do it
Right.
versus eating out all the time,
Yeah.
or
It's not.
getting a meal on the go, and, Lamont and I are off doing something and it's like, man, I'm feeling really tired later.
Right.
Like these are the things that, I really think about that really gets me going,
Okay.
that I really feel like that helps me and then helps other people. But before we have Miss Ranada come on here in just a second, I do have one more question for you because somebody
Okay.
asked it in here, so I want to make sure we answer it. The question
Okay.
was from Quinn. They said, "Do you recommend trace minerals in pill form?"
It depends on the source. When you, like I said, it depends on the. A lot of times, if it's in a pill form, if it's, it's going to be a synthetic. That's just what that is. That's why, that's why you just, we research and pay attention to what we putting in our mouths. You know what I
I love
mean?
that.
Because it definitely makes a difference, man. All this stuff makes a difference. All this, we have to understand that all this stuff makes a difference. The the purpose of getting on a so-called supplement, you know what I mean? Because like I said, our food is depleted. That's the reason why I offer, different formulas. That's the reason I offer, sea moss capsules, gels, black seed powder capsules, mushrooms, things like that, because our food is literally depleted. This on your take, Patrice. We gotta always remind people, that our grandparents, they didn't have super grocery stores.
Mm,
You know what I mean? All this stuff is new, man. All this stuff is new. They didn't have grocery stores. You know what I
yeah,
mean? They
yeah.
didn't have access to a lot of this stuff. So we just got to be mindful, man. We just need to be mindful. And I'm not saying, you just try to do all these things at once, because you do that, you're gonna overwhelm yourself. But let's just be intentional about what it is that we're trying to do. If we trying to have goals, we can achieve our goals. Let's achieve them the right way, and you'll be surprised of how much success that you will actually obtain in your life, man. You'll be
Yeah.
very surprised. You know what I mean? You don't have to take shortcuts. You know what I mean? The only thing it takes a little discipline. Sometime when discipline don't kick in, let motivation kick in.
Come on.
Exchange them out. Exchange them out. You know what I mean? When the motivation don't, let discipline kick in. Exchange
Yeah.
them out, man. Exchange
Yeah.
them out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
But
that's that's
we just
that
we just we
that's a
just
good
got to be
word.
willing. We just got to
Yeah.
be willing as a people, man. If we love life like we say we do, instead of waiting to somebody give us a death sentence, you know what I mean? And then you're gonna cry and tell all your people, oh, they said I got this, yada yada yada. You know what I mean? You're gonna cry, you're gonna make everybody feel bad. Instead of do that, let's take care of ourselves. Let's be proactive, man. Herbal intellect. Let's be proactive, man.
Come
You
on,
know what
come
I mean?
on. And I'm gonna
Instead of
share this
reactive.
too. Yeah, I love what you're saying. So actually I'm gonna share about your website. So I'm gonna
Yes, ma'am.
hold on, let me do this. I'm gonna put it in the chat first. So for those of y'all that want to learn more about what Paul does, and also too, this is the perfect time to get his tea because I swear by it. Like while I was sick, I did unfortunately didn't do the right thing, which is I normally take his stuff before I get
Right,
sick,
right,
but
right.
because you gotta boost your immunity and actually to either shorten or keep from getting sick. So I
Yes,
normally
ma'am.
would take his tea whenever around this time of the year. Usually I start in October, but I waited a little too late, got sick, but I did take it while I was sick and I felt so much better.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I just say, this is his website. You can go, it's herbalintellect.com. You can see more about what he does on here. You can see the different formulas that he has, the different uses that they have. You also have, let me see. Okay, and you got people that, swear by his stuff. You'll probably find me in there.
Yes,
Let's see what
man.
else. Um,
Yeah, got a blog on there for all the products. I do a blog
okay,
once a month, you know,
okay.
and I do free
I'm trying.
consultations. You know what I mean?
Okay, okay.
I'm
I
very
love this.
transparent about all the products. So,
I love
what you got to
this.
do, anything that you might have on your mind, we can
I love
always,
this.
we can always set a time up and, talk about it.
Okay, yep. And then so you got I see you got different things on here. So you've got for allergies, you've got blood sugar management, hair growth formula, men's gland and hormone reset, men's libido rebirth. Can you talk about, so this is one of the things that real quick, before
Okay.
we transition out, but you touched on it earlier, and I really want to say this, especially for our men, and especially our men of color, our black men. I think
Yes,
it's so
ma'am.
important that we remember the importance of, we talked about self-care, wellness, mental
Yes,
health,
ma'am.
things like that. And one of the things that both Nicole and I had talked a lot about, because, she works with a lot of clients as well. But
Right.
one of the things that she had challenges with is like understanding, or men understanding the importance of health and wellness, and not just like going to the gym, but,
Right.
taking
This is
these
bigger than
kinds of
that.
things, right?
It's,
Because it
it's bigger than
is,
that. It's bigger than
right?
that. You
So,
got to
so
remember
why do
that's what they.
you, yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry.
So tell me, like, what would you say, just a quick word to our men, and how they can be intentional, because that was the word that you said that I want us to end on. How can they be intentional and being able to pay healing forward in all the
Well,
ways that we just talked about?
let's just say this. If you say you love people and you got people that love you, then be intentional. If you say you love people and you got people that love you and depend on you, then let's be intentional. And that's, and we all should, go to sleep with that at night. If you say you got people that love you and you love them, then let's be intentional. That's because you got to remember, once you gone, who's going to fulfill them shoes? You know what I
Yep.
mean? Let's think about that. We don't ever think about that.
Yep.
We leave that to the families and the wives and the girlfriends and everybody else. You know what I mean? But
Yep.
once you leave here, who's going to aid and assist your family? You know what I mean?
Yep.
Who's going to do that for you? If
Yep.
you say you got people that love you and you love them, well, let's be intentional. You know what
I
I mean?
love that.
I got a homeboy who works at these nursing homes. All the men that's in their 30s, young men, 30s, 40s. Ain't got nobody to do anything for them. These people, and for whatever reason, fell into bad health, man. So if you got people that love you, and that's a sign. Come on, man. We don't have to do that. We don't have to walk around in silence, man. We don't have to be tough. You know what I mean? We don't have to do any of these things no more, man. All these lies that's been told to us as black men. We
Mm,
don't have to do it, man. We just don't. We don't have to walk around with the lie no more. We don't have to walk around with these stereotypes. We just don't, man. We
yeah.
don't.
And
We
and
don't
I
we
and
don't have
I
to, we don't. It's
I
too much
love that you
information out
said that.
here. There's too much information out here for that. It's a trick, man. It's a con game.
Yep.
You know?
Actually,
It's
the speaker box said Black Logic, LOL.
real life, man. Real life.
I
Real
love
life,
that.
man.
I love that.
Real life.
But
We don't Yeah, but if you got people that love you
yeah.
and you love them, let's be intentional about your health and wellness.
How can people get in touch with you? Because I see that there are a
Uh,
couple of folks on here who
they can
asked some
they
really
can
good
always go to
questions.
herbalintellect.com. You can call me
Okay.
right there. And it come to the phone, or you can always dial the business phone 317-772-1818. I do free consultations. And man, it's 2026, man. We should not still be suffering from the same things over and over and over. That's insanity. You know that, Patrice. Isn't that
Yeah,
insanity? Ain't
it
ain't that ain't
is.
that what you
Trying to
study?
do the
Ain't that
same
what you
thing.
study?
Yep.
Ain't that
Wanting
what you
different
study?
results. Yep.
Come on, man. This is
Facts.
insanity, man. We got all these poor examples, man, to learn from. We don't have to keep suffering from this stuff, man. We just don't, man. We just
Yep.
don't. That's
Yep.
that's crazy, man.
I look,
We
I
don't.
put out here, Quinn was like, put me on some game. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah,
And I
bro. That's what it's
mean,
all about.
and that's
Each
what
one
it's
teach one. Each
and
one
look, you
reach
took the
one.
words out of my
Yeah,
mouth. You
and
took
that's
the
all
words
it's
out of
about,
my mouth.
man. That's all it's
Yeah.
about. That's it, man. That's it. I can
Man.
be better for you. You can be better for me. We can be better for our women, for our daughters, for our
Yes.
aunties, our mothers, our grandmothers. our
Come on
sons or
now.
daughters, man.
Come
Come on,
on.
man. Come
Yes.
on, man.
All of
You
that.
can, all that, man. But we
Come
cannot
on.
keep living these
Got my
lies,
other
man, in
ear over here like,
2026.
yes.
Yeah, we can't keep living these lies in 2026. We just got to stop it.
Shoot. I don't mean, and
Stop
I
it.
and I and I'll say this as and I want you to say something to Ranada as I introduce her. But one of the
Renata,
things that I'm really excited about having both of y'all on here is
she was
that
on
you
last
both,
time.
yeah, and you
Yeah, I
know the
gave her some
crazy.
sea moss. Did
I
you like that sea
told you.
moss I gave you?
Oh wait,
Huh?
hold on.
Did you like that sea moss I gave you?
There you go.
It wasn't me that you gave sea moss to. It was somebody
It
else.
wasn't. Are you sure?
I'm sure. I
But,
haven't had sea moss.
but we was when we on this, or was that? No, okay, no, it was. I'm sorry.
It's
It was
okay.
somebody gave. I'm sorry. I apologize. I stand corrected. I apologize.
It's okay. You
I
was
apologize. Okay. I apologize. I apologize. Cause it was that you had me on the show, right? Remember I brought the sea moss and I
You did. I don't know that. I don't think that she was on at the same time.
okay.
I don't
Okay,
think she
okay,
was on at
okay.
the same. But you did bring the sea moss.
Okay, yeah. I
You did bring the
apologize,
sea
beloved.
moss.
okay.
But yeah,
No
I
worries.
apologize.
No worries.
I apologize. I
Look,
stand corrected
look.
on that.
I be trying to tell people like Paul be getting people right though. I mean, on
Yeah,
so
I
many
apologize
levels.
about that.
But what here's one of the things that I want to ask you, Paul, as I pass the baton to Renata, who I'm so excited to have her on here because
Yes,
she's
ma'am.
been on here as well. And
Okay.
when I think about how I get to end, this is the last episode of 2025. We will continue
Yes,
in
ma'am.
2026. So, but I'm just saying in 2025, this is the last episode. But these
Yes,
are
ma'am.
two amazing people that I've had on my show before. And one of the things that I'm so excited about, when I think about this, and especially, what you both represent, Paul, you being the owner of Herbal Intellect, Ranada, you being the owner of Empowered Living and Beautifully Human. You are both wellness gurus in your own right in different ways.
Okay.
You focus on herbals and, just different resources to help the body, Paul,
Yes.
and then Renata, she, for those of y'all that don't know, she's not only a licensed therapist, she's a sexologist,
Okay,
right? She's an
okay,
inclusive sex coach.
okay, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, you know
Look,
what?
I know y'all
Hey,
perked up real quick, like, wait a minute, what she do?
No,
What she do?
no, because I was gonna say now, because I gotta know. I'm gonna have
Let
to
me go
let you
back to
check
that.
that
Let me
out.
go back to that real quick, because
Yeah,
y'all need to see that. That's a
yeah, I got
partnership
one
right there. Hold
libido on
on.
there.
Let me go back
Yeah,
to that. Hold on.
yeah,
We
I'm gonna
share
have to
that
give you
real
some of
quick.
that. Let me give you some of that.
So wait, look. You got men's libido, right? You
Right,
got
right.
let's see, where's the women's?
It's on there. It's on there.
It's on there. I gotta go
Yep.
further down. We got the
Yeah, you probably
men's.
gotta go further down
Load
or
more. I got
load
load
more.
more. I got load
Yep.
more. Let's see what else we got. Okay, there we go.
Yep.
Trying to
Women's
get people
hormone
together.
set. Women's unity set. Okay, women's libido
Oh
formula.
yeah,
I
yeah,
see that. Okay,
yeah. So yeah,
prostate
yeah.
fighter formula. I love that. I love that. This is so good. So, okay, so this is my question for both of y'all, and then I'm gonna go ahead and then direct my attention to Renata, because like I said, I got both of
Yes.
y'all on here on the same time, and it just I get excited because number one, I like talking to y'all, but two,
Okay.
this is like such a powerful way to end the year. As I said before, you both are wellness gurus in your own right and in your own lanes. But how do you see paying healing forward in what you do personally, but also professionally?
Just deep out the gate. Okay.
Okay. But paying it, well, I see it as, for me personally, is being everything that I say I am. I am the product. I takes the product. When it comes to men's health, I take a men's libido every day. I take sea moss capsule every day. I take a black seed powder every day. I take a men's reset every day. And I take a lion's mane mushroom every day. You know what I mean? For the mental clarity. You know what I mean? So I am the product, and this for is paying it forward. Paying it forward is this by letting people know, let's be intentional with our health and wellness. Let's be proactive instead of reactive. Let's stop waiting till these people tell us whatever they're gonna tell us. Then, like I said, you get on the phone and you worry your people, man. When you already know, by not going to get checkups, by not paying attention to what's going on in your everyday life. You know what I mean? Because long as we be silenced, nobody never knows what's going on with you. You can look good on the outside. That's like most like like I'm doing an interview and I'm in the gym right now because as soon as I get done with the interview, I'm gonna go to the gym.
Come
But most of this
on.
stuff,
Look, you
but most of this
motivated me to
stuff
go
is
ahead and do my
aesthetics,
workout
right?
after this. Yeah.
Most of this stuff is aesthetics, right? You gotta remember
Right.
the average bodybuilder only lives to be 50 years old. Why is that? Because it's an unnatural process. You know what I mean?
Wow.
It's an unnatural process. That's what it is. Your body's not made for that. But it's such an unnatural process. They got people buying all this stuff, walking around big ass jugs of water, you know what I mean? All this goofy shit. I'm not me cussing on the podcast. I apologize about that. But I'm saying I'm just saying, so it's this it's aesthetic, man. You know what I mean? That don't mean you're healthy. Like I said, that's why the average one only lasts to be 50 years old. You know
Wow.
what I
Didn't
mean?
know that. Didn't know
Yeah,
that.
that's a fact. That's well documented. You know what I mean? Because the things, all the different shocks that they take their bodies through. You know what I mean? All the different shocks by here it is. Most of them eating 8 hours a day. You can't eat it. Your body only digests food. It takes food to digest 8 hours a day. You know what I mean? So if I'm eating 3 meals a day, ain't number 24 hours in a day. See what I'm saying? It takes, some
Facts.
people say 9. Well, let's
Yeah.
just go with 9. It's 27 hours. So it's only 24. You know what I mean? So when you're not gonna, when you're in your car, you ain't gonna let your car run all day because that engine's gonna tear up, right? This
Yep.
ain't just like the body. The engine is literally designed after the human body, literally.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's
So you're
good.
not,
That's good.
so it's this about us just understanding these things, man. Like I said, a lot of this stuff is aesthetics. A lot of it, we've been tricked. You know what I mean? It's just very unhealthy. You know what I mean? Like I said, you see people with the look, yeah, but most of them are dying inside. Most of them, most of them suffer from a lot of things, man.
So speaking of which, to that, so I want you, Renata, to speak to that because
Yeah,
you
I'm
talked
sorry,
about the
Renata. I can
inside.
go on.
I know, look, you passionate,
You
I'm sorry.
but you
fine.
have me. You have me. But I want you to talk about how do you see paying healing forward for you personally and professionally? Because he spoke to the inside, and I think a lot of the work that you do is from the inside. So what does that look like for you?
So I would say the word he used, intentionality, I think it's a very powerful word that we say we're being intentional, but we don't always act intentional.
Sorry.
So I've tried this year to do better at taking care of me
Okay.
and being more transparent because there are a lot of things that we just don't talk about. So just like I have a lot of people in my life that are perimenopause. We did a workshop about it because we out here struggling as our hormones are all over the place.
Right.
Come and see me. Come and see me. Come and see me. I get them together for you. Get them together for you.
But or even just something as simple as I was talking to a client the other day about you know how there's a lot of stuff in the Bible that we just kind of overlook, and how like the prophet that he just needed a nap and to eat. Some of
That's
us,
crazy. I was literally just thinking about that image in my head literally about a week ago. Because I think the Lord was like, you need to just stop making simplify things. Because even from a spiritual standpoint or even from a religious standpoint, we'd be like, oh, well, I just need to pray about it. No, you need to take a nap.
yeah,
Take a nap.
yeah, a lot of us are just tired.
Yeah.
We
Hence
are
why I got sick.
we tired. We're not eating like we should. We're not moving our bodies, and it's showing up. And then just from the mental health
Yeah.
standpoint, a lot of us just internalize so much stuff, and we're not dealing with it. We're not even recognizing that like stuff from our childhood is still bothering us. Stuff that from our grandparents are still bothering us.
Yep.
So it runs pretty deep, but it's just a matter of am I going to deal with it and am I going to truly live life?
Yeah.
So I try to pay it forward by bringing that to people's forefront of hey, let's address this stuff. We don't have to do this stuff in secret. Let's have a
Yep.
community and address these issues.
And I love that because the community piece is the part that I really appreciate about this conversation with both of you. And, one, I want to say thank you, Paul, for what you shared
Well,
because know and believe, in 2026, we got more work to do.
yes, ma'am.
And so
I'm here
I
for
can't
it.
wait to have you back on the show, back at our wellness workshops, because I know that people have really been blessed by your products.
Yes, ma'am.
And then Ranada, you know, for me, you have been not only, you know, someone that I look up to as a therapist, but also, you know, a friend, a sister friend, you know, someone who, I'll never forget. I always tell this, like, but how we connected was
Uh-oh.
actually through photography because her
Okay, that's
now
what's up.
fiance, right? At
Okay.
the time they were talking. I don't know if y'all were official, but y'all was talking, but now her fiance, right?
Okay,
Who is
good,
one of
good.
my good buddies,
Blessings,
Rob, shout out to
blessings.
you. But he told me to talk with Ranada because I did a photo shoot for him for his birthday,
His 40th. Yeah,
and he
his
was
40th
like, "You
birthday.
should talk." Yeah, his 40th birthday. That's what I was thinking about. I was like, "Is it 40?" Yeah, it was 40. His 40th birthday, and he told me, you know, y'all two should talk. And so then, of course, we got connected. And then one of the first things that you asked me, you was like, "Do you do boudoir photo shoots?" And I was like, "Yeah." And in the back of my mind, I was like, "I know what those are, but let me just clarify what she means about
Right.
boudoir photo
Well, your
shoots, right?"
husband was
Because
like, "Do you know what that means?"
and I was like, "I do," but then I went to go look stuff up just to make sure that I was on the same page of what you were saying,
And I
and I
think I
was like,
showed
"Yeah,
you pictures
yeah,
of me that I got to do
yeah,
better.
yeah."
First day of meeting me, you see me half naked. Jesus.
Hey, you know, but look, but that's how you know that's how you know it's real. Like, you know, I appreciate like literally your transparency,
Right.
and but also like your realness and just how down to earth you are, you know, and of course, you know, when I did the retreat for the women,
Mhm.
and that's where you had me do the boudoir photo shoots for each of the women, and each of them had so many amazing stories and just different dynamics of, you know, why they wanted to do that retreat and why it was such a beautiful experience for each one of them individually but also corporately. Because when I did their boudoir photo shoot individually, you know, each woman dressed up in lingerie, you know, and each had their own separate room, you know, and, you know, I did a photo shoot for them. And one particular lady that I will always remember this story, which I thought was so beautiful, is that she wanted to do a boudoir photo shoot because she said that she wanted to remember what it was like to have long hair because she had just been diagnosed with cancer. And, you know, when I think about wellness, it really does set a precedent to say, what does wellness look like? And it's not just externally, but it's internally. And that's a
Yes,
big part
ma'am.
of what you do, Renata. And so I just thank you for the work you do. I thank you for the work you do, Paul.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
so people can stay connected with you. Everybody that's still listening on the live, I put in the chat his website, which is Herbal Intellect. You can definitely check out more information about what he does if you click on that link. And so, Paul, I thank you for coming on here, for
Well, thank you for
sharing.
having me.
Yes, and I will definitely be working out because you just motivated me. I was supposed to go to the gym earlier today, and
Yeah, yeah,
because I
yep,
had some other stuff that got pushed back, I didn't go. So
yep.
this is my way of being held accountable that I will work
That's
out
right.
before I go to bed tonight.
I felt convicted also, so I'm gonna go ahead and do a workout too. Thanks,
There you
Paul.
go.
Okay, that's what's up.
There you go.
Hey, I
That's what
like
community is
that.
all
I like
about.
that. A motivation. I like the
Yeah.
motivation. Yes. Yes, I
That's
like
right. So
that.
I'm gonna text y'all when I'm done, right?
Okay,
That's what's
And then I
up.
want y'all to text me that y'all did something
I
tonight.
will.
Okay, yeah, I'm about to hit
We're
it as
gonna
soon as
hold
I
each
get
other
off.
accountable.
Now it's gonna
Yeah,
be a
yeah,
short workout. I'm gonna be honest. It ain't gonna
yeah.
be.
Hey,
I'm in the parking lot. I'm literally in the parking lot.
I see you. I see.
Yeah, I'm literally in the parking lot, so I'm
Okay, well
about to
that
go
was
hit it.
motivation. Sometimes it's all we need. We just
That's
need
it.
the a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
extra push.
Little push, man. Little
That's
push.
it. That's it. That's it.
Little
Well,
discipline sometimes, little motivation. You know what I
that's
mean?
it. That's all
Absolutely.
we need.
Beautiful recipe. It's a beautiful recipe.
Yep, yep. Well, thank you, Paul. I'm gonna let you get in here and
Yes,
get your
ma'am.
workout on.
Hey,
But
thank
it
you for
was so
having me. I
good talking with
appreciate
you.
y'all.
It was
Thank you.
nice
All
Thank
meeting
you.
you,
right.
Thank you.
Paul.
Nice to meet you too, beloved. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
So, Miss Renata,
Yes, ma'am.
the beautiful Renata. Look, I promise every time I think about not only just all the things that you do, I promise I'm like, sometimes I'll be like, I'll be doing too much. But then I'll be like, man, Renata, she on another level. I'm like, I mean, and then it's funny because then I like when I talk to you about like how you doing, and then you be like, let me think about it. Get back to you on that one. But but it's so honest. And I mean, of course, you're a licensed therapist, right? Like it's the transparency that, always draws me to you. And just like every time I talk to you, whether it's just like on a friendship level or even if it's like on a business level, like working with you, as a therapist or whatever the case may be, all the work that you do with Empowered Living, and even with Beautifully Human, it's just, like I said, it's amazing. And I want the people to know about the work you do and why you do it. So tell the folks who you are and what you do and why.
Let me give you that cliff. Do they still have Cliff Notes? Is that
Sure.
okay? Or am I dating myself?
Let's go with it. Let's go with it.
Okay, so people in our age group, we know what that is.
Yes, I do know what that is.
If you're not in our age group and you're younger, you're like, what
abbreviated versions.
Those are just basically it's the Wikipedia version in a book form of a book.
The fact that you went to the book version, you like the process of the abilities of the things that we process through and no, I'm sorry.
I have to look that up when we done so I can see if they still have those. So what all do? Surprisingly I don't do as much as I used to do, which is I know.
Is that the marriage part of you starting to come in?
No, that's I'm 43 and I don't want to keep working this hard and try to make my health more of a priority.
I love that.
So it started a while back. Now, yes, he has very much been like, hey. But he's very diplomatic, so he doesn't say it that way. He doesn't say it that way.
I can see Rob doing that too. Like, hey, babe. Hey, babe.
Yeah. So he's like, you can't be working these late hours all the time. So I recognize. I'm trying to honor that.
Yeah.
But, so what all do I do? So I have been a therapist it'll be 19 years next month.
Wow.
Yeah. I've been doing this for a long time. So became a therapist because in high school, I volunteered at a place where I got to be a pseudo therapist, if you will, and kind of fell in love with it. So I do that. I am a sexologist, sex coach, sex therapist, all things.
Tell people what that is. Now, I know people might be like, so what, you watch people have sex and then you therapize them, or like, what is that?
I don't do
I'm
that.
just thinking what other people probably thinking. So let's just go ahead and clarify what that means.
So basically what I do is just like any other specialty with therapy, I just specialize in it. I help people process through that. So I'm not the kind of therapist that's like, try this position. We'll talk about the physical parts if need be, but I do more of if you've had some sexual trauma, if a lot of us never talked about sexuality. So we talk about, what does that even mean? Self-esteem is included in sexuality. So we talk about, what does that mean? Pleasure. Like, yes, we know what pleasure is sexually. I wouldn't even say physically. But like, we do a lot of pleasurable things. Like when you have a good meal, most of us dance, sing, we do something when you have a good meal.
And dance. I do a little dance.
I think I just dance. I think that's it. What else? I talk about intimacy. I talk about that a lot because a lot of us really just struggle with intimacy. Just kind of body awareness, things like that. So yes, we talk about the physical parts of sex, but sexuality is such a big topic that I like to cover the other things. So my goal is you get so comfortable with you that you don't need me for I don't know what to do. Because if you're confident and feel good about yourself, you'll just be creative.
I love that.
And you should be, that way you can just practice together with your partner and y'all just be creative. But some of us are so uncomfortable that we can't even get to that point. So
any other things that you do? Because I got several questions for you, but I just want to make sure we get through all the list of things that you do, so
Okay.
that way people know
Okay.
how they can have your services.
I'm an author, so I have a couple of books out there.
Uh-huh.
Um, I host retreats, workshops, things like
Mm-hmm.
that. I do
Mm-hmm.
supervision for therapists.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
What else do I do? That's the base of work wise that I do.
Got it. Got it. Okay.
I feel
All
like I
right.
might be forgetting something, but that's the main stuff.
That's the main stuff.
That's the main stuff.
Okay. Okay. Now, when you say the things that you do, right? And one of the things that we're talking about is, paying healing forward.
Hmm.
A big part of, I want to share this statistic. I shared one. Well, I'm gonna ask you the mantra moment that I asked Paul. So we do it at the beginning of each of our shows. And I wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts on today's mantra moment? So the thought is this: reflection turns experience into wisdom, and wisdom into healing we can share.
I like it. I would add to it when we actually are ready to do it.
Hmm.
It's kind of like when people say, when you know better, you do better. That's not
Mm-hmm.
true. A lot of us know better. We just don't.
But we don't do better. Just like when I was supposed to work out earlier today, and now he's like, I'm getting ready to go to the gym. After I get off of here, I'm like, okay, so I clearly need to do a workout tonight.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's, sometimes it's not that we're trying to be defiant or whatever, but I think it is a matter of, yes, I'm all for reflection and having that wisdom and that knowledge of those experiences, but you actually have to do it.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get so stuck in our head that we don't do. I mean, I'm guilty of that. There are some
Yeah.
things that earlier in the year I was having a conversation with the good Lord, and I was working out, and for whatever reason, when I work out, I tend to like talk to God. I don't know if it's because I be tired and be like, Lord Jesus, let me make it through. The time, I feel like God was kind of getting on me, and He kind of put the thought in my head of everything you've asked me for. Most of the stuff that you've asked me for, I've given it to you. You're mad because of how I gave it to you. It wasn't the way that you wanted. But like I've told you time and time again, you don't get to tell me how I bless you.
Mm.
Yeah, I know. We working on that. We working on that.
Mm. No, Lord. I literally was thinking about this video earlier today, and this girl was like, she was in her car, I think, venting, but and she was like, I guess, sitting in the car getting ready to go to work or whatever, but she was like, Lord, I just, I know, people be saying, the Lord may not come when you want him, but he's always on time. But what time is it, Lord? Like, come on, can you hurry it up? I was like, oh Lord Jesus, I wouldn't be like saying that to God, but at the same time, I'm like, that's what we be feeling internally, right? He already knows
He
it.
already
So
knows
whether we
it.
say it or not, he's like, I know that's what you're saying. But it's that idea of like, okay, God, I need to be honest, which is one of the things that, I love what Paul said, is that, reflection leads to us having to be honest about the things that we are either trying to escape or that we don't want to face. And that's really where healing comes in. So, I mean, I think you touched on something that I think is really important for us as we think about, how we pay healing forward going into 2026, because we can't move forward if we're not willing to do the work.
And it's not always fun, easy, delightful, whatever word you want to insert work. I mean, even
Right.
as a therapist, I tell my therapist, you earned your check this year. Yeah,
Lord
she
Jesus.
earned her check. But
Whew.
I think that's part of me trying to be a good therapist is making sure I'm taking care of me. So my clients are
Yeah.
not go to therapy. I see her tomorrow. We'll process the stuff that came up this week. But
Yep.
that's part of doing the work. Do I like it? No. But
Yeah.
I know I did. Just like I try to be intentional about the people who are in my life that I'm not saying they be talking crazy to me, but they hold me accountable and they call me out on my bull. Some people do be talking a little sideways, but it is what it is. They would say the same thing about me.
Hey, look, but we all need that community, right? And
We
I
do.
think that's one of the things that, hopefully people have realized, especially after this year, dealing with some of the craziness that this government and just society in general has, dealt us, that we really cannot try to divide, especially right now, because so many of us are realizing that whether you are on a different political side or if you're on a different belief system side, like wherever you are, at some point we've got to come together and be able to find our common ground, because that's where we'll find strength and where we'll find solutions. Because I think, our society has really done a job, and even sometimes with social media and just media in general, where there's things out here that are instigating and waiting for us to find ways to divide and to isolate ourselves. So then that way we can start believing these lies that, no one cares, no one understands, to the point where we start believing like, I need to take my life,
Yeah.
and these are the times of the year, when earlier this fall, we've been talking about seasonal affective disorder and just how it impacts people's mental, and understanding that when the seasons are changing, even just from a basic like allergies or, not sleeping well, or, we're having more darkness. And so it's like feeling like I'm tired more often and not feeling as productive. But then there's the other flip side of that, which is, I've lost loved ones, or this is the anniversary of someone's death, or this is the first year without the person that I was in a relationship with, and all these different things that we start feeling like, okay, I need to internalize this and I don't want anybody to help me. But that's actually far from the way we need to handle things. So how is it in the work that you do, how does that help people to keep from doing that, or how do you help people from doing that?
A big part of it is just we got to call it what it is and acknowledge what it is. Because I think when people think of grief, because you touched on a lot of things that people associate with grief, I don't think we always think about like sometimes we have to grieve a dream that no longer is an option, or grieve parts of us that did become what they were. Like there's a lot of things that we can potentially grieve.
Mm-hmm.
Coming to terms with reality. Sometimes we need to grieve that, and whatever that means for you. But let's call it what it is, and then let's figure out how to move forward with it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is always a part of your story, but just because it's a part of your story, it doesn't mean that it defines the entire book. And I think some of us get stuck on
like that
certain identifiers. So, like for example, I have asthma. Yes, I'm asthmatic, but that does not make up who I am as a person. That's just a part of who I am as a person. But some of us, we get these narratives and we want to just hold tight to them, and we need to grieve them and be able to say, okay, how can I move forward?
Mm-hmm.
So we got to have people that can help us. Sometimes you don't even have the words to even say, oh, this is what it is. So just be able to have that space to unpack that, I think, is how I try.
Yeah.
Whether it's through individual therapy, groups, workshops, retreats, what have you. Because for some people, they don't want that one-on-one. They need that group aspect or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
Or a lot of us in the service industry, we get a lot of secondary trauma that we just kind of go on to the next one. So whether you are a couple months back, was at a winery talking to one of the people, and they were saying how they were an ER nurse, and just all the things that they saw, and it just kind of caused them to be like, I don't want to do this anymore. Because they're like, it's one thing to see a child die, then you got to go into another room and act like nothing's happened.
Yeah.
Or even as a therapist, we hear some horrific things, and then we got to go to the next session and be like, hey, how you doing?
Right. Put on the face and keep it moving. But yeah, and it's like we need our own opportunities to like decompress. And I mean, that was one of the reasons why, even, with workshops, why I did the wellness workshop last week, with vision boarding. Because I mean, I was probably, everybody was happy, but I felt like I was even more happy to do a vision board, because I didn't even get to do a vision board for 2025. So 2024, Lamont and I did one. We always try to do one right around New Year's. So it's like kind of going into the new year, we're doing it. And it's like our way of saying to each other, holding each other accountable, like we are going to commit to these things I'm not saying that we'll do them perfectly or that we'll be able to accomplish everything, but we are going to be intentional, since that was the word we talked about. But we're going to be intentional about these things, which means we have to say no to things that keep us from being intentional. So that way we don't look back with regret, but we also can be proud of the progress that we made, even if we didn't fully get to do everything. And so even I like what you said about, grieving loss. And sometimes it's not even a person. Sometimes it's a dream, or maybe it's a way that we wanted to accomplish certain things that we didn't get to when we look at this year. Because, there's so many year in review things, like I've gotten something on YouTube, I've gotten something on Instagram, and all these different things, Facebook, where it makes you like review, like, what did you do for 2025? And when you start looking back at photos and video, you're like, I forgot I even did that this year, and it can give you a lot of joy, but then it can also give you some sadness, because some of those people in those photos or videos may not be here anymore, or some of the things that you did, you're not doing anymore, and all of those things impact how you see yourself or see what you hope to accomplish moving forward. But I love what you said. So to that, I want to ask you this: from a therapeutic lens, why is reflection such a critical first step in healing?
Because you have to know where to start. Well, I think it's kind of like, think of it as like you need a baseline. So we got to factor in what I've already done, what do I wish to do, all those things. So we can at least get a baseline so that we can kind of measure what the goal is to be able to move forward. So because we were talking about working out, if the goal is for me to be healthier, I got to at least know where my health is. I mean, yes, you could do it without that, but it's easier to measure that goal if I at least know, okay, these are my numbers. I got my labs done. These are what my measurements are. This is what my intake looks like. This is how much water I'm drinking, like how much sleep I get.
Or the lack thereof.
Or lack thereof. Also, like, it helps to have a starting place.
Yeah. I love that. And even to that, how does unprocessed trauma show up in relationships, intimacy, and communication?
So what I often tell clients is our bodies are so great that it will deal with life regardless if we want to or not. So I always tell people it's better to go ahead and deal with it, because your body's going to do it. And it probably will pick a time that it's the absolute, perceived anyway, worst time to deal with it.
Yep. Just like when I was like, literally, Lamont, he got sick, and literally the day that he got well, I got sick. I was like, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. Our bodies are there. It's interesting how our bodies are made up. But it's interesting how there can be things that you forgot about or didn't even think about. Or I've had clients that didn't even know they had trauma until we had a conversation and I asked a question, and then it was like, wait, that's what that is? Yeah. So just, we got to have a starting point. And you think about the people who you know in your life that are still holding on to stuff that happened 20, 30, 40 plus years ago.
And when they come to family functions during the holidays, how they bring it up.
They still mad at people, and when you ask, well, what happened? I don't even remember.
Right, but you still holding on to something that you can't remember, though.
Yeah.
You be like, well, I just don't like such and such, and that, that's why they don't come to the family functions, because, be like, your brother?
Or, like, what? I can think of someone that has, people who, they're divorced, but they still can't, they've been divorced for like 30, 40 years, and somebody's still bitter. There's a lot of bitter people walking around here.
Talk about it.
Talk
about it. And speaking of which, like, I think that's one of the things too, like, I really love that you said, because, and I'm not saying, and I don't want to downgrade people who have gotten, any form of trauma from any kind of relationship or situation, right? Like, I could easily be traumatized, because of a previous work experience that I had, a couple years back. But, I look at it as it's what allowed me to be in the space that I'm in now. It's what gave me the courage to, write my book. Gratitude is always in season because I was grateful that season, but I had to learn how to be grateful because it was a hard season. And then even if someone has, dealt with a divorce, or if they dealt with a loss, or, if there were any form of abuse or whatever the case is, at some point we have to do the work of forgiveness. Because really forgiveness is not for the person, it's really for ourselves. So like, even to that, like, how do you see forgiveness, or even I would call it the audacious practice of reflection, and how people can do that without shame or self-judgment? How does that work?
Some of that is just giving yourself permission to do it. There's a lot of things we just need to give ourselves permission to do and know that it's okay. Forgiveness, it does a lot. It's very free. I think oftentimes we also forget to forgive ourselves. And we want to continue to punish ourselves for decisions that we made. That It's easy for me to say, 43-year-old Renata would have never done what 23-year-old Renata did. Well, of course not. I had an extra 20 years to figure some stuff out.
Right. Like, why would I think I would act any different than I was in my 20s? Because I was in my 20s.
But decisions that, hear me out, there are things that I'm still paying for that I made mistakes in my late teens, early 20s. However, I have to acknowledge that at that time, I made the best decision with the information that I had.
At that time.
And so it's hard to, there's nothing wrong with reflecting, but we also have to be realistic with our reflecting, because we can't beat ourselves up using our current eyes. We have to look at, okay, even in your 20s, your brain is still developing. So yes, you're not making the wisest choices. There's just a lot of factors that go into decisions that you make in your 20s. But we like beat ourselves up in your 30s, and your every age, there are just things like, yeah, when you're older, it's easier to say, oh, I would have done this. Because you've lived a little life, and
right,
hopefully you've grown.
Right. Hopefully. But I'd even say, to that reflection piece, I think that's where, we have to, to what you said about spending that time to do the work, and even kind of what Paul was saying about being intentional and being honest. It's the reflection part that really causes us to really say, you know what? Have I grown in this area? And if I haven't, what do I need to do now to make that happen? And that's probably the biggest part that, I see, with clients or people who are seeking help, or they say that they want to go to therapy. Like, I've had several times where people will reach out to me and they'll be like, hey, I would like to set up a therapy session with you. And I'll send them all the information, and they'll look at it, and I don't hear nothing from them. It'll be a couple of days. I'll reach out maybe within the week. Hey, just checking in. Just want to see if you're, ready to get started. No response. But then I'll hear from them maybe like a month later, and they're like in emergency mode, right? Because now whatever it is that they were struggling with or wrestling with, it's gotten like to a 10. Well, before it may have been like at a 5. And that's because now they're forced to have to face this thing. And they're like, I can't do this by myself. So I really got to come, and I got to go to therapy now. And I mean, so long as you acknowledge that you need help, that's, at the end of the day, that's the bottom line. And that's a good thing. But when you know that there are signs that you need to go to therapy, or that you need to seek help or community, or that you need to grow or have healing, that's when we have to pay attention. Because like you said, our body does keep score of, trauma, of, when we're not eating well, when we're not working out, when we're not doing the things that we need to do, to take care of ourselves, or to put ourselves in healthy community, to hold us accountable to those things. But I mean, what are those things that you come across most times with clients, without saying somebody's business, but no one would know unless they're listening? But I mean, what would you say is a common theme that drives people to see you in therapy?
Poor boundaries, unrealistic expectations. I would say are the biggest things. So
Mm.
I typically, if you were to look at my caseload, it is a lot of high and overachieving women. That's because I am a high overachiever. So,
You gotta attract what you are.
you do. Sometimes you do. And a lot of times when that is a part of your identity, I think it's depending on how you got to that point. Like I said, you don't always have the best boundaries, or you try to be all things for everybody,
Mm-hmm.
or people have given you that title of that bag, and you decide, let me just hold it for them because they've asked me to do it.
Mm.
So yeah, and with the unrealistic expectations, I think we just expect a lot. Sometimes you have expectations that you never even signed up for. You
Talk
just
about
kind
that
of
one.
like everybody said you should do this, and you did it. It's like, that's not even what I really wanted to do, but okay. So yeah, that's typically what comes to me. But I think so. Hence, if you pay attention to stuff that I try to do, it's typically stuff. This is the secret. I probably should tell y'all. Uh,
Go
something.
right on
It's
ahead. Go right
typically
on ahead.
stuff that I've experienced. So the last book
Yeah.
that I wrote, "You're Enough Because You've Always Been," I wrote it because of what I was going through. And God was like,
Mm.
"You need to write it. And this is what I wanted to be about." So I was like, "Okay."
Okay.
I mean, it wasn't that simple. I wish I could be like, "Yes, he said it. I immediately did it."
All right. Right. Like how many times is yourself or somebody else or signs come along and he was like, this is like the
I
umpteenth
mean, the
time
name
I
of the
done
book
told
is
you.
tattooed on my body, and I see it every day.
Wow. Come on. And
But it still took me
that's a
a while
big
to write
sign.
it.
That's like
I
you can't
intentionally
forget
put
it.
that tattoo there so I could see it every day, but you know,
Yeah. I love
or
that.
the retreat that I have coming up. It is
Yes.
also
Talk
cut out
about it.
enough. And I did that, I hosted that retreat just because of all the stuff that's been popping up. So I've had a lot of people this year that are tired of not being as authentic as they would like to be. They're tired of not having the freedom just to kind of breathe
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
take care of themselves without feeling guilty. It is amazing
Yeah.
how many people say, if I'm just sitting at the house and doing nothing, I feel bad because I have a list of things that I need to do.
Mm.
Which the reality is, I don't even remember who I was talking to last week. One of my friends, and they were like, but rest is being productive, but we don't view it in that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this retreat was kind of put together to kind of say, hey, let's meet up. It'll be virtual. So you can't say, well, I can't get there, or it's a snowstorm. I took away that
Okay.
issue.
It's a snowstorm.
We
I
live,
guess I can't work on myself. Oops.
but it's an opportunity to come together with like-minded women to celebrate you, but then also give yourself permission and do work. Now, yes, well, you'll get taken care of, but you go do some work because that's the whole point of it. And then you'll come up with an
Yeah.
action plan so that you can use it throughout the year.
I love
And
it.
then the other thing, I didn't create this. I can't take no credit for it. I just came along.
I'm just putting it out there though.
Just
That's all.
saying, it's not my baby at all. So one of our amazing therapists, Marcy Grayson, she is doing a continuing education. So those that need your continuing education, she is doing a
Mm-hmm.
workshop. She's got one coming up on January 17th and then one on January 27th. So if you can't make it to one, you can make it to the other. But it's about so the title of it is Solution Focused Tools for Therapists Burnout, a strength based approach. I'm sorry, a strength based reset. So a lot of us therapists are burnt out, whether we want to acknowledge it or not. We've been trying to deal with our stuff, our client
Yeah.
stuff,
It's a lot of
people
stuff.
who meet you and think that you're going to do a session with them. It's like, I just came to buy some groceries, and I don't know how I ended up doing therapy.
He's like, wait a minute. Wait a minute now. This is not a therapy session, but you're making this one.
That's so ass. Which I'm not saying if you ever see me, if that's what happens, that's what happens. But she has put together a great workshop to give you some tools so that you can help with the burnout. Because a lot of us have been in burnout for years and just haven't really dealt with it for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So there
Yeah.
are two opportunities coming up.
Okay. And what are the dates of them?
Okay,
of
so
all of them?
we'll go
Because it's
backwards.
three basically that I'm hearing.
It's three,
Three,
but two of them
but
are the same,
okay,
just so you have two options for the dates.
got
So
it.
January 17th or January 27th, that is the
Okay,
solution focused tools for therapist burnout, a strength based reset. So again, that's
got
for
it.
therapists who need their continuing education credits. It's an hour and a half credit that you'll get. It's $27. That's not even
Okay,
we waste $27.
probably be hollering at you about that.
And Marcy's a really, really good teacher. I will brag on her for a little bit. Marcy is the person that I be telling her she get on my nerves because she pulls stuff out of you unintentionally. I can't even say unintentional. I feel like it'd be on purpose, but she's good.
You're like, would you stop trying to read me? Cut it out.
Like that's not what I called you for. We talking about you, but she's really good at helping you problem solve and see things that you may not have always saw. Um,
Yeah,
and she calls you out on your stuff. Granted, I'm her friend, so I'm biased, but I still be like side eye. But it is. So
you
I
be
say
like,
that to
look now.
say it will be worth it. And then the retreat is January 10th, and that's
Okay,
from 11. I'm lying. It's from 10 to 3.
what? I like that. Like, I ain't telling y'all the truth.
I ain't even lying
Sorry.
to y'all like that. Marcy's one of hers is so the one on the 17th that starts at 11 to 12:30, and then the one on the 27th that's from 5:30 to 7. On the 10th,
Gotcha.
that is from 10 to 3. So during that we will it'll be interactive. So if you've ever
Okay.
participated in a workshop with me, I don't like y'all just to sit there. I don't want to do all the talking because I talk all the time. I hear me talk all the time. So we got to participate. Lunch will be included, and I'm sure you're like, well, what you mean lunch will be included?
Yeah, because it's virtual. So how's that working?
Because I'm gonna make sure that you eat. That's how. So you'll get something special in the mail so that you can make sure that you eat.
Got it.
Yeah.
But you got to actually get it to eat it.
Some of this is
Okay.
surprises, so I don't want to tell you everything.
Okay. All
But
right. All
food
right.
will
All right.
be
All right.
included.
I got you. No, the reason why I said that is because Paul was like, we become so comfortable with the way we do things to the point where it's like we DoorDash things, we, Insta whatever anything, and to the point where then we start having more convenience that turns into more health issues. So,
True.
when we don't have to go anywhere, when we don't have to do anything, we could do everything from literally a point of a button. Then in essence, we're not working on the things that are really going to help us. So like not cooking meals, not meal prepping, not taking intentional time to have conversations with the people in your household, or, going to go see someone and spend time with them and let them know what's going on in your life and vice versa, because we're quote unquote too busy. And I say that because, I've been guilty of it, but I know this year I feel like I've been more intentional about it. And I think, especially with the things that we've talked about this year, it's, I think, what's helped me to, lose some weight. It's also what's helped me to not be as anxious as I think I was at the beginning or the end of last year, the beginning of this year. But again, a big part of that has been community. That has what has truly, I think, helped me in more ways than I really understand. And that's one of the reasons why this is the Inspired Tribe, because every person that comes on the live stream that, joins us at workshops or, different events, or, you do a therapy service or whatever, you're a part of that Inspired Tribe community. And, the work that you do is so vital, especially in our community, because we're making strides with understanding mental health shouldn't be stigmatized, but we still have so far to go. And I think that's one of the reasons why we do the work that we do, because we realize that, for every step forward that we can take to heal,
Mm-hmm.
right, there's so many more things ahead that we don't even know what 2026 is going to hold. And it's like, we got to do the work now.
We do.
Because if we think things are hard now, current government.
We won't even say that. You think about it, we have generations worth of stuff that we haven't addressed. Just
Like,
even
we got to get it together. All of us gonna be out here in a corner somewhere.
we do, but
Even the people who serving people. Like,
we
look, I
do.
can't help you.
If we got generations worth of stuff that we dealing with, and then whatever's happening in the future, whatever's going on currently, you gotta have tools. Like I can even think of like just having conversations with my family and just learning more about my family. It's like, oh, that's why I do that. Okay, because all of us got families. I feel like every family has that family secret that's not a family secret, or
Mm-hmm.
I just family dynamics that it's like if you recognize that that was just a habit in your family, not that that makes it an excuse or make it okay, but it's like okay, so this is something that is a challenge in my family. How do I break this curse? How do I
Mm-hmm.
switch it up so that I don't have to
Mm-hmm.
keep being the one that does it?
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't
And
always
that's
have
and
to be like I feel
yeah.
like we always go to like teenage pregnancy and all those things. Like I would say I know people who their family is like so how do I want to word it? I know quite a few people who come from families that are full of high and overachievers and they feel like they are the least accomplished, but it's like how? Like I won't put their business out there, but like I know people who are like what they do, most people don't even achieve because it's just not a
Right.
common achievement. But
Right.
they feel like they
Right.
are the least accomplished in their family.
Mm. And that in that in and of itself, I think, that speaks to,
Hmm.
imposter syndrome. I can't even speak today. Where it's like you're in these positions and you're doing these things, and externally people are looking at you and thinking like, oh my gosh, you're doing all these great things, but on the inside you're like, am I really good enough? Like what you were saying earlier about your book, to know that you are enough. But I mean, it really starts internally in our minds. And I think that's one of the reasons why reflection is so important, because we have to question our questions and doubt our doubts. Because until we do that, the things that we're running from or that we think we're afraid of or think are going to be a problem, they're really not the issue as much as it is we're not dealing with whatever those factors are that are causing us to like cower or to say like I'm not enough. Because and some of that too can be even cultural. Like one of the things I remember, I had someone on my show some months ago, and one of the things she talked about, because in her culture, because she comes from an Asian and white culture, but on the Asian side, she lived here in America, but because of the Asian side that that she represented, in her culture, being complimented was not a good thing. And she said anytime people would compliment her, she would always be like, no, it's not that. No, I didn't. No, it's not that big of a deal. And people would take that as offensive. Like, what? I just gave you a compliment. Like,
Right.
what do you mean? Right. But not understanding that sometimes it could be traditions, it could be our culture, it could be, systematic pressures, things that we might not realize are so far embedded in us that are actually toxic or not healthy, that until we're triggered and we realize like, dang, that's a problem. And it's been a problem for this long stretch of time, and maybe something or someone, maybe surfaced it, and now am I going to just hide, or am I going to deal with it? In order for me to be able to move forward.
So,
And so that and so, so Don said, just joining. What's up, Don? So the topic tonight is talking about paying healing forward and starting with reflection. And so with what we're doing, we're talking about what are things that, as we look at all of what we've done and experienced in 2025, how can we pay healing forward personally and professionally? And how is that going to help us move forward going into 2026? And so one of the things that I shared earlier is, for me, I'm excited about the fact that I got to do a vision board, because it really did make me think about what did I accomplish this year, because I didn't do a vision board last year. I did one the year before that. I'm sorry, I did one last year. I didn't do one this year. Whatever. But the point
you're
is
one at
that
24, not at 25.
yeah. I was like, I'm confusing myself. Look, clearly. But I say all that to say that it makes a huge difference because and I just got this book and I wanted to share this with y'all. And so and as a result, when someone gives a donation, so this is actually a shout out to y'all. So when someone gives a donation, if you go to my website, www.inspiredonpurposeservices.com, and you give a donation to the Giving December campaign, I will gift you and send you this book. I just got it and I saw it online and I was like, ooh, this sounds really cool. So it's a year of self-care, daily practices, and inspiration for caring for yourself. And on the back, it says, invest in self-care with a year of motivating wisdom. So on here, it's got something for every day of the week for a whole year. So it's got dates and things like that. But there was another book, which I'm trying to think, is that in here? I think I can remember the quote. But this is actually what I shared at the wellness workshop. And I wanted to see what your thoughts are about this too, Ranada. Let's see if I can remember it. Okay, so the quote goes, self-care is not about chocolates and bath salts. It's about being able to build a life that you don't have to regularly escape from.
I agree. I think so when I tell people, what's your self-care plan? When I ask them that, the way I describe self-care is, what are you doing now that's going to help future you? Massages are great. Getting your nails, all that stuff done is great. But what's going to really help future me? And it might just be, I drank water today. It could be something as simple as that. I got to finish mine, so mine's is right here. It could be, I moved my body today.
Yes.
I actually went to the doctor and found out what was going on with my health. I went to the dentist twice this year like I was supposed to. Got my eyes checked. I went to therapy. Granted, there's a bias, but I think everybody should go to therapy at least once. So, we all got stuff. Yes. So it doesn't always have to be I ate chocolate. So I do appreciate that quote.
Yeah. And I think that's, I want to ask everybody that's on the live stream this question. And if you want to answer this question too, Ranada, you can. But what is one thing for 2025 that you want to heal from so that you can move forward in 2026 and do well in a healthy way? So if you want to put it in the chat, anybody, if you want to put it in the chat, and then we can share it if you want, or just self-reflect right now. So let me say the question again. What is one thing in 2025 that you want to heal from so that you can move forward in 2026 and do well in a healthy way?
I feel like 3 things popped up. One of them is I want to be a better steward over the things that I manage. So I'm reading a book, and I don't know if I have a book by me. I do. It's called Simple Money, Rich Life: Achieving True Financial Freedom and Design a Life of Eternal Impact. And so one of the things in the book that it talks about is this idea that we are managers over what God has blessed us with. And how do you manage those things? Because if we're saying everything is His anyway, and my job is just to manage what I'm supposed to manage, how do I do that? So just kind of coming to terms, not that I hadn't already, but really like being intentional about, this is what I've mismanaged. This is how and why I've mismanaged it. What can I do differently? So not even just finances, but just boundaries. I have the strongest boundaries at times.
Yeah.
People pleasing. Not taking care of my body. Allowing fear to keep me paralyzed in certain areas.
Yeah.
Allowing the unknown, the fear of the unknown, or the fear of success. I can live with The unknown. Sometimes being successful is scary. It's more scary to me.
Mm,
Just because of the responsibility that comes with it.
mm,
And
that's
making
good.
sure that I manage those responsibilities appropriately.
I like that.
So I feel like that encompasses everything.
Well, thank you for sharing that. That's good. Somebody said in the comment, Rochelle, she says, my insecurities. That's
Those will
good.
get you. Those will get you.
Yeah. 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 Our insecurities can definitely, and that kind of goes back to what I was talking about, the imposter syndrome, where we're like feeling like I'm an imposter in this role, but I'm not, I've got the degree, I've got the time, I've got the experience, but I don't know that I'm enough. Right. And those insecurities, which can, go far, far, far back to like our childhood, where we were maybe told, things like you'll never amount to anything, or you'll never be, or whatever, or things that you may have heard from maybe a teacher in high school, or, you'll never, get this far, whatever the case is. Those are the things that as an adult, we have to fight against when we are doubting ourselves or believing that we're not enough or we don't deserve to have self-care, or even, I tell the clients often in therapy or just even in workshops, that self-care isn't selfish and therapy isn't a luxury, it's a necessity.
Absolutely.
Right. And just realizing that, especially in communities of color, for us to understand, let's be honest, in the white community and other communities, affluent communities, they go to therapy all the time, right? And some of that has to do with money because they have the wherewithal and the money to do it. But when it comes to us, in our communities, and understanding like, okay, I have to, figure out where my money is going to go in order for me to determine whether I'm going to do this or not. Well, what difference does it make if we work so many hours and we're struggling and stressed out on our jobs and we're about to be on the verge of burnout, but I'm spending money eating out or I'm getting a new pair of red bottom shoes, but my life is crumbling. Now, would therapy at that point be more sexy? You know what I'm saying? Like what gets us in the mindset to think like going to therapy is actually a priority, like going to my job, right? And the difference is that I get to focus on helping myself be well because, like what Paul was saying, other people are depending on me. And if I'm not taking care of my mental health, then how can I really say that I'm doing the things that are helping the people that I love?
Absolutely.
Right? Because if we're crashing out and we don't have the help that we need, then how are we really doing the things that we're supposed to be stewarding ourselves to do?
Absolutely. Going back to the whole idea of imposter syndrome, I got to hear, went to a workshop last year by, she's a sex educator called, and her real name is Goody Howard. um, but she talked about how imposters don't have imposter syndrome. And it's such a simple statement, but it was like, she is not lying. Imposters they just go with it. And they will be 10 toes down no matter what. But we out here with the credentials, all the accolades, all the whatever you want to call it, and we're like, oh, do I really deserve this? Or oh, insert whatever we say. And don't get me wrong, I've been guilty of it too. But whenever I have that moment, I always remind myself, if you was a real imposter, you wouldn't be thinking this way.
That's good. That's good.
Because we all
And I
know
mean,
this one person that don't know their job or whatever. Then it's just
right.
acting like, I know it, you can't tell me I'm wrong. I mean, I feel like our president is not so great at his job. I put that lightly.
And I'm telling you what, I mean, there's some folks out there who like
10 toes down.
they live in imposter syndrome and they could care less. It don't matter how many remarks you say you're not doing a good job and you need to do better. I literally, and I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna get off of it because whatever. But I just thought it was very telling. It was a post somebody did of interviewing, you know, the orange man. And, basically they asked the question, how did they ask the question? They said, do you ever ask God for forgiveness? And his response was, well, if I feel like I do something wrong, I just try to do better. I don't put God into the equation. And I thought, wow. Okay. Wow. And the fact that he says, if I feel that I've done something wrong, I just try to do better. And I thought, interesting. When I look at what's happened alone in 2025, it makes sense why his answer was that way. Because I'm sure you don't think you did anything wrong. That's probably why you don't try to make a better change. So,
Or
but
that could be his form of improvement.
Okay.
Your perception is your reality.
And that definitely is a reality for him that is not for other people. But somebody else said, Quinn said, the answer to the question was discipline, something that you want to let go of in 2025 so that you can do better and move forward in 2026 and do well in a healthy way. So discipline, I'm 100% with you on that, Quinn, is discipline. And that is one of the things that as we, get ready to wrap up, I would say, whatever those things are for anyone who's listening now or even on the replay, I really encourage you to, take some time before 2025 ends to do some self-reflection. Like, don't run from it. Don't think it's scary. It's not super difficult. Make it simple. Even if it's journaling or maybe even doing a voice recording and just saying how you feel, but do something where you have a record of what it is that you are ready to let go of now so that you can move forward. Because, I love what you said, Ranada, that, so many people are holding on to things from 20, 30 years ago, but those things are so far gone, that at the same time, it's like, you don't even fully remember what happened. You just believe, or you're telling yourself a story and you're holding on to it for dear life. But yet that's the thing that's blocking you from where you're trying to go. And I just think that's where I want all of us to really, and I even take stock of that myself. Cause that's why we won't have therapy on the mic next Thursday, cause it's Christmas, but we will start back in January. So you all can stay tuned for when we're going to do our next therapy on the mic, because it won't be the Thursday after that because it's New Year's Day. So those are perfect times for self-reflection, y'all. Whether if it's on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, the day after New Year's, like take some time to like reflect and to really work on you. But I do also wanted to share this real quick on your website. Is there anything in particular that you want the people to know about your website as I share it with the folks so they can see your lovely faces?
So that's one of the websites. So that's Empower Living. And we're actually in the process of redoing the website.
Okay.
So it'll be new at 26.
Hey.
So actually, it would be better to go to Beautifully Human's website.
Okay, so I'm gonna go to that one. Okay.
Because both events are on that website, so we can do that.
Okay. So tell us what's on this website as I pull it up.
So go to the events page and sign up for Marcy's webinar. If you need your continuing education credits, and even if you don't, it still is a great webinar to just get those tools so you can do that reset. And then, of course, sign up for the retreat. Again, it's on the 10th. And a great opportunity for you to come and get pampered and do some work. So, yeah.
So where do we go to sign up for things?
Go to the events page at the top.
Okay.
And then both of those are right there.
Okay. There she goes.
There she goes.
Okay. And then the retreat.
There's a retreat.
So buy tickets there, buy tickets there. So I'm gonna put this in the chat so people can find more about that.
Yes.
There we go. All right. So we got that there. And then how can people find you?
So you can find me either through Empire Living or Beautifully Human, either company. It's best to go to the website. That would be the easiest instead of me keeping using.
Just go to one of them. And also let me put Empowered Living.
Yeah, so just go to one of the websites because it's got all our contact information on there. So it'll be either empowerlivinginc.net or beautifullyhuman.net. So that's the best way to find me is either one of those avenues.
Okay. Perfect. So
yeah.
Well, I appreciate you so much. We're going to stay on for just a few more minutes. But I just want to first and foremost say thank you again, Ranada. It's always a joy having you on here. I definitely want to have you on probably toward the beginning of the new year, because I do want to talk about like different traumas, especially when we were talking about, sexual trauma. Because I think that's one of the things that said, there's my baby. You better shout out your fiance. You better look, let me give another jingle for that. Come on. I love it. That's all I'm talking about. That's how you support. But I love that, what you do for so many people. And I think that, again, especially in our community, I mean, I literally just saw somebody post something recently about this whole, Diddy special that 50 Cent did on him and just what was happening in the industry. And so many times, we laugh about the trauma that happens, not realizing he's been traumatized, let alone we know people in our community have been traumatized, and we kind of liking it to like, oh, that's just what happens. No, that's not. And that's not healthy. But we got to talk about it, and we got to have healthy conversations around it and have facilitation so that way we can actually talk about how do we find healing in those areas, because we can't move forward and we can't help anybody else move forward if we're still holding on to those traumas, right? Because the reality, everybody has trauma, but do we allow the trauma to control us, or do we find ways to heal from it so we can control the narratives of what that trauma's done to us?
So I'm gonna hop on a soapbox real quick.
Yep.
This is the conversation me and Rob had. And I don't remember what sparked this conversation. But we were talking about how like there are a lot of men that were molested or assaulted when they were younger.
Yeah.
We kind of glaze over it. So like, these older women going after these young boys and thinking that was okay behavior. That was not okay.
Not okay.
Not okay at all. Because if it was the opposite the other way, we'd be all up in arms. But we said that behavior, I think we were talking about Ike's herder. That's what it was. We were talking about, because they believe that's part of his story, is there was someone in his past, one of the ladies at the church, I think, that seduced him. And when you're a kid, you don't know no better.
Right.
So,
and a lot of times guys get, they get big ups for that. Not realizing like, hey, you took my innocence. And that's literally what happened.
Absolutely. So I just want to say that I know we talk a lot about it with women, but it happens a lot with men. And it's just, a lot of times there's a lot of shame and we don't want to talk about it. And there's a lot of embarrassment. I've sat in a room with some men and it came up. And the men in the room, all of them were like, yeah, I lost my virginity earlier than what I would have because of the women that were in my life. Okay, I'm done.
Okay. Well, mine's over. Sorry. I just wanted to shout him out real quick. Because I know he was like, so, but no, I wanted to shout out my hubby because like I said, we've had a lot of conversations around this topic, especially when we're talking about dealing with trauma when it comes to men. And again, just understanding the need for healing, because we already know women talk more than men, but just because they don't talk as much doesn't mean that they don't have something going on. And that's where we really need to be paying attention, especially to the men in our lives, when they're not talking, when they're not speaking up, why, and not, making fun of it or kind of blowing it off. But we need to have those conversations, and then having safe spaces for them to be able to process their emotions so that they can get the help that they need, or even encouraging them to go to therapy and saying that it is okay to go to therapy, because those are the things that will ultimately help families, generations, when we start normalizing healing, when we normalize therapy. So I feel you on all that. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that. Let's see, Quinn said, hopefully the Fae opens back up right so I can see you guys again. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, one of the people from the Glick Community Center.
Yes.
Speaking of which, we talk about all the stuff that was happening this year. Crazy government trying to shut stuff down that's helping our community. Don't get me started. That's a whole nother topic. So, but I just want to thank you again for coming on. And I'm just going to talk to the people here for a little bit. And then we're going to jump off, and I'm going to play a Christmas song at the end, because I was asking y'all to inbox me or DM me some Christmas music, but I got one for y'all. Y'all don't want to miss this. So hold your horses. Okay.
Well, thank you so much.
Yes, as always, it's always a joy having you around. Bye, sis. All right, y'all. So we're about to wrap this up. But before we do, you know what we got to do? We got to talk about it. What does all this stuff mean, right? We talked about a lot of stuff tonight, and I hope that you really had an opportunity to reflect on what this means to you, how you can, thank you, baby, how you can work through some of the stuff that you heard. Maybe some of this stuff, popped in your head something that you're like, oh my gosh, I got to work on that, right? I hope that you will walk away not shaming yourself or being judgmental about it, or even thinking, oh, I have imposter syndrome, I'm not working on this. And no, what things ever come to your mind, what I really hope that what you will do and take away from is that you will, can you turn it off? Turn that off. Sorry, y'all. This is what it looks like to be transparent. But one of the things that I hope that you'll be able to walk away from is that these are the things that hopefully you will be able to take mental notes of, write about, right? Journal some stuff, but then also that you want to work on as you are going into 2026, because we have about a little less than 3 weeks left, right? But there's still plenty of time, right? And be a good steward of the time that you have, because no, tomorrow isn't promised. And that's not trying to scare anybody, but we live like sometimes like we have all the time in the world, but we don't know what tomorrow holds. So the time that we do have, if we know we need to go to therapy, sign up for a therapy session. If you are interested in getting therapy service, go to my website, which is www.inspiredonpurposeservices.com. I'll put the link in the chat right now. But I say all that to say, take some time for yourself and get the help that you need. When you get to my website, if you go to contact us, there you will find a therapy referral form. You fill out that therapy referral form, and then that's where you fill that out. And then I will be in touch with you so that you can get the help that you need. And again, if you are interested in trying to give to the Giving campaign, the Giving December campaign, this is a great time where you can pay healing forward, where somebody is in need of some of the services that I provide and that we provide here through Inspired on Purpose. This is an opportunity that you can help pay healing forward. If you've experienced healing and you know that someone was a part of helping you heal, then do the same for someone else. And if you've benefited from Therapy on the Mic radio show and podcast, or any of the events that we've put on, from our wellness workshops to spoken word elevated to Keishan conversations. I forgot to mention that we're going to do one here coming into the spring. So be on the lookout for that. Anything that we've done that you've benefited from, therapy services, photography services, any of those things, like, make sure to pay it forward for someone else so that they can experience that healing and the inspiration and encouragement. So here are a couple of things, just wrap up of what I hope that you all will be able to take away from this time. So one, definitely pause and reflect. Okay, so take some time and maybe write this down in a notebook, so that way you can, work on this even as we go into the new year. The first thing is, what healing have you received this year that you're grateful for? The next question is, what lesson did pain teach you in 2025? That's a good one. I'll be writing on that one. Who poured into you, and how can you pour into someone else? Next one, what boundaries do you need to protect your healing in 2026? And then the last one, what does paying healing forward look like in your daily life? So as you think about those questions, take some time to write them down, put them in a journal, put it somewhere if you need to, little sticky notes, and put it wherever you can see it, often in your bathroom, in your car, on your door, wherever that is. And take some time to allow reflection to be a part of your healing, but also a part of what helps you move forward. And remember, reflection is not about perfection. It's about awareness. So again, I want to give a shout out to all of our sponsors who have continually through this year and years even before that have been a huge part of allowing Therapy on the Mic radio show and podcast to continue to do what we do well. Again, shout out to Speak On It Media and Speak On It Radio. Shout out to Spoken Word Elevated, Herbal Intellect, Paul, who was on here, Be Well Therapeutic Massage Spa, Leo's Alkaline Water, Don't Stop Living Wellness, the Idle Jorg Museum, which we got some things coming up in the new year in February that you don't want to miss. So be on the lookout in our partnership with the Idle Jorg Museum, Her Home Design Boutique, and anything else that I'm forgetting, make sure to let me know. But I just say all that to say my dog is over here whining. So that's why I'm like, what's happening? But I say all that to say thank you all for believing in healing and equity and community. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for another amazing year of being able to inspire people on purpose. It has been such a blessing. And even if you want to, like, leave a comment or something and let me know, like, how has this been informative for you? How has it been helpful for you? What kind of topics do you want to talk about going into 2026? Because that definitely will help move us forward, so that I know things that you want to talk about, or people that you want to be on the show. And so Quinn said I need to come here more often, and I hope that you do. So I'm so glad that you said that, and I hope that you will go back and listen to the whole thing. Share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. Go back and take some notes, whatever it is that you need to do. But again, you can subscribe if you haven't to my YouTube channel, which is Inspired on Purpose. You can find me on all platforms under Inspired on Purpose. And yeah, I'm taking a little bit more time because I missed y'all. Like I really truly missed y'all. And to have only done Therapy on the Mic for one Thursday out of the whole month, like I just feel like there's so much there that I didn't get a chance to talk to y'all about. But there's been a lot of life that's happened in December of 2025, and I'm sure that you have too. But I hope that this episode will help you to take some time for reflection for yourself and encourage yourself to share it with someone else, so that way you're not doing this alone. Couple of real quick things I want to share with y'all before I get off. If you're interested in our program, Building with Purpose, Mind, Body, and Soul, we have a monthly membership, which you can join which we are focusing on that three things: mind, body, and soul. So I focus on mental health and wellness. Nicole, who is our holistic certified nutritionist, focuses on gut health and weight loss and weight management. And then we also have the fitness piece of that. And so we actually did a couple of Pilates classes this year, which I was grateful for. And we had that with the amazing Kristen Jackson, who is a certified Pilates coach, and she does so many more things. But all that to say is that we are getting ready to start a 6-week challenge starting in January that you want to be a part of. So more details will be on the website. So you can make sure to stay tuned on there, or you can also go, when you go to the website, click on the little lines or whatever, if you're on your phone or if you're on your computer, on the top right corner. If you click on Building with Purpose, you can learn more about the program. You can learn more about the membership, the monthly membership, and you can learn more about the 6-week challenge. We will be doing a virtual info session in January, I believe January the 6th. But more information will be on the website so that you can stay tuned if you would like to get more information and you would like to learn about how to join the 6-week challenge. It is meant for busy people. So if you are a young adult, if you are an adult, if you are a busy person, man or woman, it is for you. And we will also be doing, as I said before, a young adult, a youth young adult wellness workshop in January, and more details will be coming about that soon. So if you are one, or if you know someone and you want to help pay healing forward, and you want to sponsor someone to go to this workshop, you can definitely go to my website, and I'll give you the direct link here for where you can make a donation. And you can even make it more personal too. If you wanted to donate it to a specific person, you can do that. But that is directly to the website where you can make your donation, and there are different initiatives that you can donate to. So that is where you can find more information. So I want to thank you all so much for everything, for an amazing year, and so much more to come in 2026. Shout out to, I want to give everybody a shout out for people who came on the live tonight. Give a shout out to the speaker. Oh yeah, duh. Look, I want to give a shout out to my husband first and foremost. Number one, because he's my husband. But two, he has got an amazing event tomorrow called Speak Fest 3. So these are events that he puts on for artists, entrepreneurs, creatives. And we do a lot of work together in that. But he's putting on an amazing show, Speak On It Radio, which of course is his baby, Speak On It Media, which is everything. But he is dropping his magazine, Speak On It Magazine, tomorrow. So you can not only get a front row seat when you come to his event, which if you are in Indianapolis, it's in Carmel, but it is called, Lord Jesus, Hot Boys Chicken, Hot Boys World Famous Chicken. There we go. I had a brain moment. But Hot Boys World Famous Chicken. If you go to his website, if you could put the link in the chat for tickets, so then that way you can get a ticket if you want a ticket tomorrow. If you're familiar with Pop the Balloon Challenge, if you're familiar with CJ Too Cold, any of those things, if you are familiar with Speak On It Radio, Speak On It Media, all those things will be in the building tomorrow, and more details will be in the link that Lamont will share in here, where you can get your tickets if you want to come out tomorrow. Oh, the magazine. Oh, yeah. The magazine is here. Yeah. So you will actually be able to get an exclusive, show of what the magazine looks like and all the businesses and entrepreneurs that are in there. So definitely can get all of that tomorrow if you come. Can you put the link? Put the ticket link in there. So he's putting the ticket link in there. So you can also go there so you can find out more information about what time it is, how much it costs, all the good stuff. Rachel says, I love it all. Keep crowning queen and walking in your purpose. Oh, thank you so much, Rochelle. The speaker box says LBH Multimedia Group and CJ Too Cold will be in the building. Yes, we're going to have some amazing performances. So if you just want a good time, you want to kick back, You want some good music, good vibes, good people, good environment, community, right? That's what it's about. You want to make sure you want to come out tomorrow. So I'm still waiting for the link. Still waiting for the link before we close out. But when he finds that link, he'll put it in the chat. And if not, he'll do it even after the live is over. Or you can just go to his website, which is thespeakerbox.com. If you go there, you'll find the link for where you can get the tickets for that. Just put in the chat your favorite Christmas song as we go out with a bang. Tell me your favorite. I need somebody to put in the chat. What is your favorite Christmas song? Temptation, Silent Night. Okay, cool. Anybody else? Oh, A Few Good Men. Okay, Quinn. Silver Bell. They are local. Lamont calls them homegrown. Homegrown. Okay, I like that. I like that. Anybody else? Mariah Carey. All I Want for Christmas. There we go. I couldn't think. Awesome sauce. All right, y'all. It's been real. Love y'all. Peace. Merry Christmas!
Thanks for watching. Did you enjoy the Therapy Thursdays with Therapy on the Mic with radio and podcast host, therapist Patrice Stokes? Well then, subscribe to the Inspired on Purpose YouTube channel and hit that notification bell so you'll know when new inspirational content is posted just for you. Leave a comment below. Share this with someone today to inspire them with purpose.